Chapter 780. Gao Lisher's letter was sent to Jili province. Zhang Xiaobao saw a lot of words in the letter and only mentioned, "Your Majesty wants 10-100-year-old ginseng" at the end. Then he threw the letter aside. Wang Wan and Wei Wei smiled. Li Longji is so poor that he has gone crazy. Every time he opens his mouth he wants 10 ginseng. He's so pitiful. What's so pitiful about that? Zhang Xiaobao was worried about the population and did not consider anything else. It's a pity that he can't control this place that should belong to the 3 provinces in the northeast. It's just that the 2 of us are obedient and help him stabilize this place. Otherwise, look at the Anong Protectorate, Raola Commandery, Songma Commandery, and Bohai Commandery. Which one of them listens to him? Today he'll give a princess and tomorrow he'll be an official. If we didn't go to Tubo, we would still have to play at the border every year. We have to develop, but we have to worry about others attacking us. Especially Kutuyu of Khitan, he's a person with some political and military skills. Li Longji has to acknowledge the person he appointed and marry him to the princess. He also has to have an official position. Others have to be respectful to him. When he speaks, others have to agree. When he's unhappy, others are not allowed to sing or dance in front of him. Otherwise, it's looking down on him. If Li Longji can control him, why didn't he write a letter to ask for more ginseng? Wang Wan folded the letter and explained the situation to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao knew this person. He was not too far away from his place. If it was connected to the highway, he would arrive in a day. Even now, it would take less than a month to march the army. Zhang Xiaobao was worried about the population. He had said that he would recruit 100,000 soldiers, but now, it seemed that he would not be able to. There were not that many people. Now most of the 130,000 people in Jili province were from Xinlua. It was estimated that they had reached the limit, and no one could come over. He touched a rabbit of the 12 zodiac animals and said, "Should we send someone to Xinlua to take a look and ask if they have any extra people? If they do, we can use pottery to exchange for them." Nowadays, pottery is not selling well in the north. They usually use fur to exchange for it. It's useless for me to have so many furs. Even if there is, I won't give it to you. 130,000 is 130,000. It's not a small amount. If you organize it properly, it'll be enough to start a rebellion. See if there's anything else you need to cut down trees and dig holes. If there's nothing else, I'll go train 10,000 soldiers. Wang Wan was waiting for the 10,000 people to adapt to the cold weather, so that they could explore the way. Recently, she had been thinking about tomatoes, potatoes, chili, corn, sweet potatoes, and so on. She didn't like eating anything else. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand. Go. There's no need for that for the time being. It's enough. If there's no other way, just get the civilians to do it. The army can't be built forever. We're not construction soldiers. When we reach North America, don't forget to bring me some cigarettes. I'll roll them and smoke them. Smoking is harmful to your health. Do you smoke? Wang Wan agreed. Even though the 2 of them didn't even know what North America looked like. Cigarettes? Zhang Xiaobao paused for a moment. He understood what Wang Wan meant. I don't know how to smoke tobacco. I can't make it. I didn't smoke tobacco in the past. I only smoke tobacco, not shredded tobacco. Shredded tobacco is too expensive. A box costs a few hundred. Yes, you smoke the ones that are dried and rolled up. A few $100s each. Don't be idle. Do some planning. This year, we have to pay taxes. Li Longji, that bully, is really not a good person. Wang Wan said this and walked out of the door to find her army training. Seeing Wang Wan leave, Zhang Xiaobao put down the rabbit of the 12 zodiac signs and picked up the cat of the previous zodiac sign. He played with it in his hand and muttered, "It's good to pay taxes. Paying taxes can increase one's reputation." Poor Li Longji. Fine, I'll get some more deer antlers. Otherwise, he'll throw a tantrum if I don't give them to my godfather. Also, my parents say that the mink fur in the northeast is good. Make some clothes to avoid the cold in winter. In a few days, a flock of geese will be flying south. Forget about the Ural grass. My family doesn't use that to make shoes. The days passed calmly and passionately. When late autumn was approaching, The second batch of grain had already started in other places. However, the first batch of grain in Jili had not yet arrived. Because it was planted late, most of the grains were still soybeans. They had to wait for the frost to fall. Wang Wan led the 10,000 soldiers to train and swim every day. They took cold baths 3 times a day, so that the people from the south could gradually adapt to the cold weather. Zhang Xiaobao ordered the people in the province to build kong beds. A large number of reeds were transported from the local area and the surrounding areas to weave mats. Otherwise, the kong beds would be uninhabitable. The bricks were burned one by one. While the people were idle, they had people make methane ponds so that they could be used on the land next year. No matter what, they had to increase the output. This year's soybean harvest was just so. They did not expect to harvest much. While they were looking forward to the autumn harvest, people from the Song-Mo Commander-in-Chief's office came. They were sent by Li Xiaogu. Now they were the masters of the Khitans. In fact, they had to listen to Kutuyu. The people who came here also represented that Kutuyu wanted something. One was the shark fin and Kuan Biyu from Jili, which was the kelp. The other was the furniture produced in Hai Yunjian. Kutuyu did not know where he heard that. Gao Lisher's house had a whole set of good furniture. All the wooden furniture was made of agarwood. In addition to the furniture, there was also a big fish tank in the shape of mountains and rivers. When reflected in the sun, it was colorful. Therefore, Kutuyu also wanted a set. If he asked for it, Zhang Xiaobao considered the current international situation and gave it to him. The problem was that the people who came did not say, "Give us something. We don't have it. It's good to look at and admire." What he said was, "My lord has taken care of Jili. The governor of Jili should offer something to my lord like you have already offered pottery." With Zhang Xiaobao's character, he would not fall for this. He politely offered pottery, but in the end he was seen as weak. Just as he was about to politely refuse, Wang Wan, who got the news, hurried back and said to the people from the Song-Mo Commander-in-Chief's office, "Jili doesn't need your care. If you want something, fine. If you don't give it to me, you can only give me a broken bowl and half a bowl of spoiled rice. If you are a man, fight me." The people who came were angry and left unhappily. As a result, just after leaving Jili, Wang Wan, who was still angry, thought for a while and led the troops to chase after them. With only 100 people, they killed more than 100 people from the Song-Mo Commander-in-Chief's office, leaving only one leader. Only then did she calm down and come back. Zhang Xiaobao, who did not stop Wang Wan, waited for Wang Wan to come back happily and said to her, "You are like a child. As the saying goes, when 2 countries are at war, they don't kill the envoys. Why did you bully them? I am a child. How can they be considered a country? I didn't admit that they dared to threaten us. We are not scared. Write a letter to Kutuyu immediately and ask him if he wants me to kill him. If he wants to die, just say it and I will help him." Wang Wan said indifferently and said, "This time I didn't bully them. It was a one-on-one fight. The Xiang army is the Xiang army. They are only stronger than the Khitans. We won a complete victory. Forget it. You rushed up with 100 people. There are so many people behind you. How can they fight? Who knew that you wanted to kill people? They thought you wanted to kidnap people. They were not prepared at all." Zhang Xiaobao could understand the feelings of the 100 Khitans who were killed. Not to mention the Khitans, even the Turks would not expect Wang Wan to kill them. "I don't care. This is called catching them off guard. They didn't know before, but now they know. If they offend me, they won't have a good ending. Didn't you see? When the leader left, he stared at me. His eyes were full of disdain. Wang Wan was still full of righteousness." Zhang Xiaobao agreed as he ground the ink. "Okay, kill them. We have to kill them sooner or later. If we don't kill them, it will be Liao in the end. I will write a letter and ask him to give us an acceptable explanation. If not, he won't have a good ending. Yes, he won't have a good ending." Wang Wan spread out the paper and took the ink from Zhang Xiaobao and ground it. It didn't take long for 2 letters to be written. One was sent to the capital and the other to the Song-Mo Commander-in-Chief's office. The letter to the capital was sent with a pigeon, but it was sent by the Ministry of Rights. Gao Lisher was in charge of the pigeon. Usually, as long as it wasn't from important people like Zhang Xiaobao, he could let his subordinates handle it. When it was not important, even if someone was willing to spend more money to send a letter, he would take care of it. When he heard that Xiaobao had sent a letter, he hurried over. In the end, he saw that it was sent to the Ministry of Rights. Thus, Gao Lishir could not open the letter directly. Instead, he found the minister of the Ministry of Rights, Su'er. Su'er's days were not very good. Although the position of minister was something that many people could not obtain in their lifetime, compared to his previous position, it was far worse. When Gao Lishir found him, he was busy behind his desk with the pilgrimage of Mount Tai. The original date was in November, but it was changed. It was changed to October. Now there were less than 2 months left before they had to leave. The Turks had negotiated with the surrounding small countries. They would not come to cause trouble, and would even send people to observe the ceremony. When Gao Lishir threw the letter in front of him, he opened it and read it. He felt that his entire back was wet. Lord Gao, this is a critical moment. What do Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan want to do? His Majesty is about to go for the pilgrimage. Why did they have to make trouble at this time? What if the Khitans do not come to observe the ceremony and prepare to send troops? Su'er felt that the pilgrimage was already very stable, and there would not be any problems. He did not expect that at the most critical moment, something would happen in Jili province. As for why they did not go to the censorate, but to the Ministry of Rights, the contents of the letter were all grievances, saying that they should be united and should not have come to force them. Others might not understand, but Su'er did. After all, he had once been on the same side as the Ziwei Yellow sect. How could he not know this method? It was more powerful than sending it to the censorate. Sending it to the censorate would be an impeachment, and the result would be to the emperor. Sending it to the Ministry of Rights would be to gain the upper hand in terms of reason. Why did they gain the upper hand in terms of reason? It was to prepare for the deployment of troops. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan really wanted to make a move. Gao Lishir did not see what was written in the letter. He took the letter and read it. He gasped and swallowed twice. He did not care about Su'er and said to him, "I'm going to find His Majesty." He left in a hurry. Su'er did not see him out. After a while he sighed. "You're too abrupt. What can I say about you?" Chapter 781. Gao Lishir almost ran to Xingqing Palace. He understood the situation, but he suddenly wanted to ask for something from his son and daughter-in-law. The people he sent didn't speak properly and threatened them. In the end, his daughter-in-law killed so many of them. Now the main thing to do was to appease the Khitans. The ceremony was about to start, so he couldn't be rash. However, at this moment he suddenly wanted to ask for something. What should he do? Who would the emperor favor? If he favored Kutuyu, what should he do? He couldn't just watch his son and daughter-in-law suffer. In the past, he treated it as a game. Now he was dealing with outsiders. He couldn't let his son suffer. "Lishir, do you have something urgent?" Li Longji already knew what was going on with the sunken lake in Changning. Zhang Xiaobao promised him a large amount of inferior salt to build an artificial lake for his manors around the capital. The lake was open to the public for 10 days every month. The money earned would go to Zhang Xiaobao. Part of it would be pure profit, and the other part would be used to maintain the manors. After Li Longji learned a little about the theory, he thought that the masters of the Zhang family and Wang family were indeed ordinary people. He was happy that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had learned the skills of the masters. When he saw Gao Lishir come over with an anxious expression, he asked. Gao Lishir didn't have time to wipe his sweat. He handed the letter over. "Your Majesty, Xiaobao and Cuckoo are in trouble. The two children actually, Your Majesty, you'll know when you read it." Li Longji was still waiting for Gao Lishir to say it. He didn't expect that he would read it himself. He opened the letter and read it from the beginning. After reading it, he was stunned. Suddenly, his face became gloomy. Gao Lishir was shocked. He was afraid that the emperor would punish Xiaobao and Cuckoo. They are too bold. What do they think I am? Do they really think I'm afraid of him just because I let him? Li Longji said word by word. "Your Majesty, Xiaobao and Cuckoo are still young. Naturally, they don't think carefully. Gao Lishur didn't care whether Li Longji was angry or not. If he didn't side with his son now, when would he? Of course. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are young, but can he surpass them? He actually dared to bully 2 children, and he even took advantage of the time when I was going to perform the pilgrimage of Mount Tai. Did he think that I would tolerate him and protect him for the sake of the pilgrimage? If he wants to cause trouble, let Cuckoo kill them all. Li Longji said angrily as he flung the letter in his hand. Ha! Gao Lishur was stunned. So she wasn't angry at Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. That was good. Your Majesty, this person is a wolf that cannot be tamed. If you treat him well, he will not remember. If you treat him badly, he will bite you back. We must guard against him. I know, but the people over there don't listen to the imperial court's orders. What can we do? Li Longji understood. Although Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had schemed against him a few times and he lost every time, the 2 children didn't have bad intentions. When the imperial court needed help, they wanted to help. In the past few years, the Zhang family and the Wang family had spent nearly 1 million strings of money on infrastructure and disaster relief. Wherever the Zhang family and the Wang family did business, the taxes had increased by a lot. As for the Khitans, they were truly wolves that couldn't be tamed. They couldn't be suppressed even a little bit, or they would be betrayed. No matter how good they were to them in the past, they would act as they pleased and turn hostile faster than flipping a book. It was clear who was close and who was distant. Seeing that his son and daughter-in-law had nothing to do, Gao Lishur felt relieved and said to Li Longji, Your Majesty, you don't have to worry about this matter. But the sudden attack happened before Xiaobao and Jianwan arrived in Jili province. Now the Khitans still dare to attack us like they did before? Cuckoo has 10,000 elite soldiers under her, and she has trained them for nearly half a year. During the Tubo War, Cuckoo was ordered to lead the remaining soldiers to fight thousands of miles away. That was why the Tubo War logistics camp in Ijo province was created. Do the Khitans have more people than the Tubo War logistics camp? Are horses faster? Are knives sharper? A smile appeared on Li Longji's face. Apparently he was happy with Gao Lishur's words. This was not nonsense, and it was the truth. That's right. With Cuckoo leading 10,000 elite soldiers, the Khitans won't dare to make trouble, and they won't be able to attack us. The letter didn't mention other things in Jili province. How are things over there? Your Majesty, Xiaobao sent a letter a few days ago saying that the 100-year-old ginseng that Your Majesty asked for have been prepared. There are also 2 sets of deer antlers for Your Majesty to brew wine in winter. There are also countless other marine products. He also proposed to pay the rent this year, but the rent is relatively small, and there will be more next year. Naturally, Gao Lishur had to pick the good ones. In fact, there were no bad ones. Xiaobao and Huan had never complained about the lack of money or manpower. They also did not mention how difficult the local construction was, or how sad the people were. Allowing them to be exempted from taxes did not feel like they were children. They were like the stabilizing force of the sea as described in the novel. They were reassuring no matter where they were. Adhering to the style of the masters of the Zhang family, they never complained, could overcome all difficulties, and became stronger when facing strong opponents. Li Longji and Weiwei nodded. They blinked their slightly red eyes and said, I know that even if many officials don't say it, they think that I'm partial to Xiaobao and Cuckoo. But if you ask me, who else should I be partial to if not them? Who has the ability like them? Who can do better than them? They are all adults, but they still want to compete with children. They can't compare to the 2 children. I won't say that I want them to do better than Xiaobao and Cuckoo. In Jili province, as long as they can do half of the 2 children, I'll be partial to them. But who can do it? Your Majesty, you can't spoil Xiaobao and Cuckoo. When the 2 of them are tired of staying there, let them come back. This is to prevent them from being difficult to control in the future. Gao Lishur began to object to Li Longji's words again, but after listening carefully, one could find the contradiction. It was true that it was to prevent them from being difficult to control. But what did he mean when he said that they were tired of staying there? Once they were tired of staying there, it would probably be difficult to control them. Li Longji didn't care about the meaning behind Gao Lishur's words. He didn't believe that Gao Lishur didn't care at all when he finally had a son. Some of the officials had said that he had countless furniture and good things in his house. Where did they come from? Ordinary people had no way to bribe him. It was all given by Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. It was said that for the new year, the fireworks shipped were different from the ones sold. They were bigger and had better packaging, so the inside shouldn't be bad either. There was also the salt sent from Jili province. A portion of it was sent to Luoyang, a portion was sent to him, and a portion was sent to Gao Lisher's house. The color of the salt wasn't snow white, but rather a bit of green. It was said that it had been processed through more than a dozen processes. One of them was even cooked with Kuanbu to prevent big neck disease. He had eaten it. Not to mention putting it in the dishes, he could even take one out and put it in his mouth. It wasn't that salty, but it had a taste. If it wasn't for Gao Lisher, based on Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's personalities, he probably wouldn't have been able to eat it. Write a letter to Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. Tell them to take a look at the entire northern part of Hebei province. If they encounter anything, they can do it first and report it later. Li Longji, who was jealous of Gao Lisher, decided to use Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to suppress that area. Yes, Your Majesty. Do we need to send more troops to Cuckoo? Gao Lisher understood that the emperor wanted to rely on Xiao Bao and Cuckoo to take care of that area, but he was worried that the two of them didn't have enough troops. Li Longji thought for a moment and said, write a letter to them and ask if they want troops and where to get them. As long as they can control the northern part of Hebei province, even if Cuckoo wants the thousands of light cavalry in Shannon province that fought with her in Tubo, I will give them to her. I'll do it right away. Your Majesty, will you bring Xiao Bao and Cuckoo with you when you go on the pilgrimage? Gao Lisher nodded. Suddenly, he thought of something very important. Fengchan, what a big deal. If he couldn't bring Xiao Bao and Cuckoo along, the two of them would regret it. That will depend on their abilities. If they can stabilize that area, let them come. If they can't, let them stay in Jili province. Li Longji thought for a moment and said. In fact, he really wanted to bring Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. For him, the two children were too deceptive. No matter how good a guard was, there were bound to be mistakes. If he brought the two children with him, they could be his trump card at the critical moment. Not only were the two of them able to fight against the most powerful bodyguard, but more importantly, they could do what the bodyguard could do, and what they could do that the bodyguard couldn't. They could command the troops at any time. And Wan Wan's battle tactics that were hailed by many as a demonic genius was reassuring. Gao Lisher was speechless. Even if he wanted to bring his son and daughter-in-law, it would depend on how far the two children could go. Just as he was about to leave, Li Longji said, you can punish him. Why did he provoke the officials of Jili province at this critical moment? Gao Lisher's letter was quickly sent to Jili province. At this time, there were also carrier pigeons in Jili province. They had just been raised and sent some to Luoyang and some to the capital. Zhang Xiaobao, who was waiting for the replies from both sides, saw his godfather's letter. He smiled and said to Wang Wan, who came over, look, Li Longji is still protecting us. Nonsense, unless he is stupid, he will naturally side with us. How can we be the same as Kutuyu? If he dares not to protect us, I will go back to him. What can he do? Wang Wan didn't appreciate it at all. Yes, if he is that stupid, he should go back and push Li Xin to the position. With the level of his weapons, I don't believe he can beat us. Who does he think he is? Can he reach the level where there are no guns and no guns for us? Zhang Xiaobao also agreed with Wang Wan. The two of them didn't have to worry about Li Longji suddenly attacking them. What about now? Wang Wan asked. Now we have to fight the propaganda war. I still want to go to Mount Tai to see what Fengchan is like and force Kutuyu to admit defeat, Zhang Xiaobao said seriously. Chapter 782. Li Longji's reprimanding edict was soon sent to Kutuyu. Looking at the words on the edict, Kutuyu could hardly believe his eyes. When did the emperor of the Tang Empire become so tough? In the commander-in-chief's mansion of Songma, no one dared to oppose his words. Even the emperor of the Tang Empire, Li Longji, had to accept the person he chose, give him an official position, and even betroth the princess. What happened this time? Why didn't he appease me and teach the two kids in Jili State a lesson? Why did he put all the blame on me? Isn't he afraid that I will rebel? Doesn't he want to Fengchan? At this critical moment he didn't protect me but changed his previous conciliatory attitude. Kutuyu couldn't figure it out, so he didn't dare to rebel. He knew that the more incomprehensible something was, the more complicated it was. Li Longji was not a fool. How could he not be afraid of offending me? He must have someone to rely on. Yes, that must be it. Who is he relying on? Come on, tell me the details of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Kutuyu intuitively believed that Li Longji could only rely on the Zhang family and the Wang family. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who went to Jili State, couldn't be so simple, and they were not sent away as others said. Soon someone came and told Kutuyu the information collected after Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan showed their outstanding abilities in Jili State, and added the information collected recently. In the past, Kutuyu didn't pay much attention to it because he didn't have much contact with the Zhang family and the Wang family. Now, after carefully listening to the information, he finally understood why Li Longji didn't favor him but protected Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If one had to describe the Zhang family and the Wang family with one word, it would be strong and very strong. First of all, the two clans had immense wealth, and second of all, they had experts backing them. Ever since they first appeared, they had never lost in any aspect. This was definitely not as simple as it seemed. Even the status of the top scorer was not enough. It could only be said that they had the ability to contend with the various powers of the Great Tang, and not be at a disadvantage. In addition to Wang Wan's achievements in Tubo, it seemed that Li Longji had placed the two of them in the northern part of Hebei province like a sharp knife, hoping that the two of them would be able to hold down this area. The conscription of 30,000 soldiers had already been exchanged for 10,000 soldiers transferred from other places. With 130,000 people in Jili province, the population of the surrounding areas had decreased by a lot. However, according to the information, Li Longji guessed Li Longji's purpose after a little analysis. Li Longji put two people whom he didn't know before, who looked like children in Jili province. Through these two people and the power of their families, he firmly blocked the entire northern part of Hebei province. Li Longji had a very powerful ship, and the experience of commanding the army in Tubo. He could use both land and sea routes. Even if he couldn't directly stop Li Longji when he took action, he could still block Li Longji's way after Li Longji rushed over a certain distance. Li Longji, do you really believe that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan can hold me down? I'd like to see if the two children in your heart have such great ability. Unconvinced, Li Longji suppressed his thoughts of rebellion and prepared to focus on dealing with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He would find a chance to test them again. His men couldn't die in vain, otherwise how could he let others do things in the future? With this idea, Li Longji encouraged himself and began to make the next plan. Since Li Longji regarded Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan as treasures, he had to be careful. Just as Li Longji was preparing his plan, Zhang Xiaobao and the propaganda war began. In a very short time, a rumor began to circulate in the Song Mo commander-in-chief's manor. Whether it was the workers or the soldiers in the manor, they all heard this news from the people they interacted with. Did you hear? Li Longji wants to lead us in a rebellion. We're about to prepare for war. Hurry and pack everything in your homes, so that you won't have time to prepare for war. This was a kind of rumor. Whether it was those who believed it or those who didn't, they couldn't help but feel a little worried. Everyone knew that the Great Tang was gradually growing stronger. If they weren't careful, they could easily be wiped out by the Great Tang's army. If not for the fact that the Great Tang still had to manage the Turks and Tubo, they would have sent an army several years ago, when Li Longji started his rebellion. The entire Song Mo commander-in-chief's manor was in a state of panic, fear, and a little expectation. Rumors stopped with the wise, but not everyone had that kind of wisdom. Those who were worried about the coming war began to buy a lot of things that could be used, such as leather armor, weapons, and food. It's over. It's said that the Jili province is preparing to recruit 50,000 soldiers from the local people. All men between 13 and 60 years old have to apply. It's said that there are also ships that can make a mountain disappear in an instant. If they're going to attack, Li Longji will send people to cause trouble. Also, the Great Tang Emperor has agreed. He even wants to send reinforcements. The light cavalry that killed countless people in Tubo is going to be given to them. Another rumor was even more frightening than the first one. The first one was nothing more than sending troops to war. When they attacked others, they had the initiative. This rumor was that others were going to attack them. In that case, there was no initiative at all. What would they do if they were attacked from behind when they were at the front lines? This time they were even more flustered. Not only did they have to buy and exchange what they could get, they also had to think of a way to make arrangements for their families when they left for war. The third rumor also appeared at this time. It said that the Great Tang Emperor wants to move us to the vicinity of the capital of Great Tang, so that we can live a better life. Those who are willing to stay can go to the Jili province to learn how to make Kong. It will be warmer in winter, and we can use more pottery. However, Li Longji is afraid that he will lose his power and refuse the Great Tang Emperor's kindness. In order to prevent us from leaving, he started a war to force the Great Tang Emperor to change his mind. The third rumor was more unbearable than the first two. The first two were going to war no matter what, and the people under their command would be prepared for war. However, the third rumor was that his ruling position would be shaken, which was absolutely unacceptable. Just when Kuyu suddenly heard of the rumor and wanted to suppress it, a piece of news came. A caravan set off from Jili province with a lot of pottery on it. They were going to send it to the manor and give it to everyone who needed it free of charge. However, this caravan was attacked by the people sent by Lilongji province. Otherwise, not only would the people in the Jili province kill all the people who were sent out, but they also sent the goods back. This news was said very firmly. Why did Kutuyu send people to stop them? It was because he didn't want good things to be used by just anyone. Only the leader could use them. Otherwise, why would Kutuyu and the others all have complete sets of pottery? They are all talking nonsense. There is no such thing. They are too despicable and insidious. Li Longji cursed loudly after smashing a lot of pottery. It was not that he didn't understand this strategy. Since ancient times, many people had used it, usually on the enemy's generals. However, when he encountered it again today, he found that it was still so difficult to resist. The people of Khitan were not as smart as the generals. Some strategies did not work on smart generals. Li Longji could clearly feel the instability of the people's hearts. The way to deal with propaganda was naturally to use the same propaganda. Li Longji held back the anger in his heart and began to ask people to explain to the Khitan people under his rule to calm down the hidden turmoil. The anti-propaganda war was effective. After all, Li Longji was the real leader of the Khitan people. First, he said that there would be no war. Then, he said that the Jili province did not send troops. Li Longji had already discussed it with Governor Zhang and Adjunct Wang. As for why the pottery was sent back, it could not be said that they did not send them back. Instead, it was said that the road was not easy to travel, so they prepared to take measures to transport them back. No matter what kind of propaganda war it was, it fell on the Khitan people in the end, making them unable to distinguish the truth from the lies. They could only hold back the anxiety in their hearts and wait. Li Longji was slightly relieved. He threw away the plan to deal with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He originally wanted to launch a sneak attack on the pottery transported from Chongning to Jili province to let Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan know that he was not to be trifled with. Now he could not launch a sneak attack. If he launched a sneak attack again, wouldn't it be a real war? What he said in the past was a lie. Not only could he not launch a sneak attack, but he also had to reconcile with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The pottery had to be transported to Khitan. If Li Yu and Zhang Xiaobao and Chongning were not close to each other, he could personally send people to Chongning to buy the pottery. Li Longji was very depressed. He wrote a letter to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. First, he said that everything in the past was a misunderstanding. The people he sent did not explain clearly. They did not want the pottery but wanted to buy it. When they came back, they lied. He was also deceived and must deal with it properly. Then, he said that he hoped that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could sell some of his pottery to him at a low price. He also sent people to transport the pottery to Songhua Commander-in-Chief's office, saying that it was a gift from Jili province. He also hoped that Zhang Xiaobao could buy some Khitan goods at a low price and say that it was a gift from Khitan. Then both sides would be even. The news quickly reached Li Longji's ears. At this time, Li Longji had already set off in the direction of Luoyang. He planned to stop there, and then go to Mount Tai. On the way, he heard that Li Longji had suddenly written a letter to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He laughed in the cabin for a while before coming out to enjoy the scenery. Gao Lisher respectfully accompanied him on the side. He was also in a very good mood. His adopted son was indeed capable. This was called subduing the enemy without fighting. Good plan. It's so insidious. Oh, it's a wonderful plan. Only Xiaobao can use it casually. Did the two of them set off from Jili province? Li Longji was overjoyed. It seemed that sending Xiaobao and Wan over was the right decision. Only the two of them could suppress the dishonest people, because the two of them were unscrupulous when it came to fighting. Gao Lisher knew that the emperor was very happy. He replied, "Your Majesty, they have already come out." Before coming out, they led the troops to the northwest of Jili province to do a drill. Look, Xiaobao has already explained it in his letter to me. As he spoke, Gao Lisher took out the letter. For him, many of the letters that Zhang Xiaobao wrote to him were official letters because many of the things that were involved in the letters were very important. Li Longji opened the letter and read it. It was written very smoothly without any wording. It was indeed a letter from home. The main point was that the two of them had already set off from Jili province without the 10,000 soldiers. The 10,000 soldiers were still working hard on the drill. The gunboats were also not here. They were waiting to engage in battle at any time along the coast. It also said that the deal with Kutuyu was agreed. After the ceremony, they would transport pottery. It also wrote back to Kutuyu and asked him to arrange for people to take care of Jili province at any time. Now that there was a provincial governor and a registrar in the army, it could be said that there was no leader there. The rest of the letter was all about greeting Gao Lisher, asking him what he liked to eat, and whether he wanted to eat some venison. A batch of venison had been braised. If he really wanted to eat it, he should prepare more ingredients on the way. After all, there were many people eating it. Some people were addicted to it, and used their status to pressure others. They only knew how to eat it for free. Haha, Lisher, your Xiaobao is guilty. How dare he say that I am a freeloader? Li Longji stared at Gao Lisher and said, "Your Majesty, Xiaobao is not talking about you. He is talking about someone else. Bai Go, Yaochong, and Xiaobao must be talking about them." Gao Lisher was not anxious for his son at all. He knew that the emperor would not be angry. As expected, Li Longji did not continue to talk about this matter. Instead he praised, "Good plan. This letter is good. Tell Kutuyu that when Jili province is empty, he is still training the soldiers. When Kutuyu is under great pressure, he is not afraid that the people of Jili province will guard against his attack, but he is afraid that the 10,000 soldiers will attack him." Xiaobao said that he is empty, but in fact he is telling Kutuyu that he should be careful of the Khitans. They can go there at any time. He and Cuckoo may have left deliberately to numb others. Xiaobao may not have thought so much. It was just a blind cat running into a dead mouse. Gao Lisher said modestly for his godson. Then he said, "However, after returning, Xiaobao still has to spend money to buy things from the Khitans. If the two of them don't participate in the ceremony, they don't have to spend money. Kutuyu can only pay for it himself." This is what makes people feel at ease about Xiaobao and Cuckoo. They know when to give up and when to retreat. They are not ready to fight with Kutuyu, so they need to be stable first. Besides, they may not be able to lose money. Yes, if it were other people, they may not be able to earn much money. Xiaobao and Cuckoo are both smart people. I always feel that this matter is not so simple. This can be considered as Xiaobao and Cuckoo using a scheme against Kutuyu, right? Li Longji did not believe that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would let Kutuyu go so easily. "It should be a scheme," Gao Lisher replied. "Since it is a scheme, how can it only have these two rings? When the two of them were scheming against me, they did not show any mercy. No wonder they want to go to Jili province. There is no one to fight with them for the coast there. It is impossible to change to another place. Dengzhou has the navy of Dengzhou occupying a good place. Look at them, they have the docks and docks. How could I be fooled? Wait for the two of them to arrive and ask me properly. This time, I want them to be closely linked, at least 5 rings. Otherwise, I will punish them. No matter what, they have to be more careful when dealing with outsiders than when dealing with me. Li Longji did not forget that he was tricked, and made a request to Gao Lishir. Gao Lishir wanted to laugh, but he held back and said, I will definitely make Xiaobao reveal the plan. Your Majesty, rest assured. When dealing with outsiders, Xiaobao's schemes have always been sharp and ruthless. For example, the current Tubo is no longer able to compete with the Tang Empire. It will be the same next year. Their locusts have not been completely exterminated. Chapter 783. After Li Longji's team arrived in Luoyang, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's teams also arrived a day later. Gao Lishir deliberately looked for Zhang Xiaobao. Xiaobao, do you have a plan to deal with Kutuyu? Upon hearing his godfather's blunt question, Zhang Xiaobao did not wish to hide anything. He nodded and said, Yes. He came to find trouble with us first. I can't just force him away. Tell foster father what to do next. Gao Lishir was really afraid that Zhang Xiaobao would say no. That would make it difficult to explain to the emperor. Zhang Xiaobao began shaking his head again. Foster father, it's not that I don't want to say it, but if I say it, it will be easy for others to find out. When we return from the pilgrimage, everything will become clear. We definitely cannot let Kutuyu off lightly. I don't dare to say anything else, but it's possible to make the Khitans unable to fight within 5 years. Wei Wei was stunned for a moment. Seeing that her godson was not saying anything, she could only advise. Xiaobao, if you want to fight, then fight. If you can avoid fighting, then don't. War is a waste of manpower and resources. I will remember foster father's words. If I can avoid fighting, then I will. Martial strength is only a deterrent. There is no need to fight with weapons. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. As for whether they would fight or not, that would depend on the development of the situation. Gao Lishir, who did not have much time to accompany Zhang Xiaobao, hurriedly left to inform Li Longji. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were left behind, looking at each other in a daze. They did not expect Gao Lishir to rush over just to ask this question. Xiaobao, I still don't know what your follow-up plan is. Wang Wan had not heard Zhang Xiaobao mention it before, so she thought that it was just to restrict Kutuyu. True invasion is not military force but culture. It's enough to attack the Khitans' cultural system. Zhang Xiaobao's reply could be considered an answer. Only after the pilgrimage was over would they know what he wanted to do. Xiaobei, who came back with her brother and sister, also saw her parents. She, who had a strong desire to show off, began to tell others stories. She even told them about the things that happened in Jili province. Her perspective was naturally different from that of the adults. She would always pick the things that she thought were interesting. This made the two families even more lively and cheerful. Li Longji didn't stay in Luoyang for too long. After 3 days, he led his men to Mount Tai. This time he brought a lot more people. The army pressed forward, and the procession stretched out for dozens of li. Along the way, the common people found a new topic to talk about. They all talked about whether the emperor would be able to invite a deity to Mount Tai. The pilgrimage this time could be said to have cost a lot. Fortunately, Li Longji didn't let Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan fork out the money. It wasn't that he was kind, but that he was afraid that Zhang Xiaobao would make use of the pilgrimage to earn money. The pilgrimage was a very serious matter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan followed Li Longji ever since he set off again. They were in charge of protecting him. At the same time, it showed that Li Longji took care of the two of them. The two of them didn't think that Li Longji shouldn't have spent so much money to go to Mount Tai. The two of them felt that the money spent was worth it. It could show the surrounding countries the national strength, just like a military parade. Although the money was spent, the results were very good. Wang Wan had been comparing this operation with the history in her memory, and realized that there were indeed many differences. First of all, the place where Li Longji rested and ate was different. In the past, it would have been at a temporary post or at a government office along the way. But now it was at the nearby restaurant between the clouds and the water every time they stopped. Zhang Xiaobao didn't intend to follow Wang Wan's history and cook simple dishes. Just the money spent on the group's meals was not a small amount. There was no need to scrimp on Li Longji's meals. After all, the money didn't come from his own pocket. Every bit of money he could earn was still a little bit. The group finally arrived at the foot of Mount Tai at the end of October. According to the date, Li Longji had arrived a few days earlier than in history. I don't think it's going to rain, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao as she looked at the sky. Rain? Zhang Xiaobao didn't understand the deeper meaning behind Wang Wan's words. It's when Li Longji ascended Mount Tai. Just as the ceremony was about to start, it rained the night before. It was very worrying. But miraculously, it was sunny the next day. Looking at the weather, it won't rain again. Wang Wan explained. Oh, so that's how it is. Don't think about history. There's no record of the two of us, nor between the clouds and the water. It's possible that Li Longji was assassinated. Be careful, he can't die now. Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to think about history anymore. It was mainly because he didn't study it well. Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words and became nervous. She said, "Lower your voice. If someone hears us, they'll suspect our thoughts." This time, Zhang Shuo still arranged his people to be part of the group. It's just that there are a few extra people. I was just wondering if he would be affected by an actor this time around. If it wasn't for the actor, would Li Longji have planted a thought in his heart? If it wasn't for those things, Zhang Shuo might not have stepped down from the stage. What's the point of thinking so much? Some things are just fuses. As long as Zhang Shuo is really that selfish this time, there's no way he'll run away. What's going to happen will happen. Even if it happens once or twice, it's time for him to step down. Are they really willing to let him stay in the position of Prime Minister forever? Even the Prime Minister and the Chairman have to change positions, let alone the Prime Minister. Zhang Xiaobao knew what Wang Wan was talking about. It was nothing more than the original development. Zhang Shuo was pushed to the edge of the cliff step by step and locked up in the end. After all, the current situation was different from history. Perhaps there would be some changes. Zhang Xiaobao did not take this to heart. He lived to show his self-worth. He had more family by his side, so other people's matters did not affect him much. The group had a hard time traveling. They had to guard against people with bad intentions, and there were no carriages or horses. Zhang Shuo was still as stingy as ever. He did not give the soldiers too many benefits, even when it came to food and drinks. On the contrary, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very generous. They brought many side dishes for the soldiers to eat under Li Longji's name. The soldiers understood that this was not the emperor's arrangement. They were very grateful to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao's goal was achieved. The side dishes he gave were all the signature dishes between the clouds and the water or sea and clouds. They usually sold well. This time, after Feng Chan returned, the soldiers would advertise it and it would sell even better. Old Man Pai, Old Man Yao, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's main men, as well as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, were extra places. As for Xiao Bei and the others, they had to stay at the foot of the mountain. It was not because they could not get a place, but because they were too young to climb the mountain. The group could not stop and wait for them. They could only regretfully lose an opportunity to witness history. What a pity. Wang Wan felt that she should think of a way to get her brothers and sisters to come. Even if they did not want to go up the mountain, they would at least be given the treatment of a rank 5 official. The main thing was that Feng Chan was not that easy to meet. Zhang Xiaobao was indifferent. It's fine. Wait for us to help Li Longji get the direction. We will ask him to seal it a few times in the future. Do you think Feng Chan is a game? You can do it once if you want to, Wang Wan said unhappily. More or less. In the future, we can ask Li Longji to go to Mount Huangshan and bring Xiao Bei and the others along. Zhang Xiaobao never felt that there was anything serious that could not be repeated. The group of people started to climb the mountain for fun. They were afraid that when they were a third of the way to Feng Chan, the group would stop to rest. The main reason was that Li Longji wanted to see the scenery. He was not tired yet. Seeing that the team had stopped, Wang Wan's mind started to work again. She quietly sent people down the mountain to pick up Xiao Bei and the others. Anyway, they were not walking very fast. At most, she would get someone to carry them. They would not fall down the mountain with such precautions. Zhang Shua was very unhappy when he heard the news. He hesitated for a while but did not refuse. He was afraid that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would find trouble with him. When the group set off again, Xiao Bei and the others had already caught up. Unfortunately, they could not see their brother and sister. To them, the pilgrimage was not as important as the scenery on Mount Tai. It would be even better if they could be more lenient and play hide and seek. Of course, even if they could come up here, it was impossible for them to be promoted to a 5th-rank official when they returned. It was already good enough that no one gave them trouble. Until Li Longji started the ceremony, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not see a single assassin. It seemed that the surrounding area had been checked over and over again by the guards. No one could hide. This time, the Fengchan of Mount Tai did not bring the women of the palace. The main reason was because of Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian had benefited a lot from the previous Fengchan. She had to take precautions. Because of this, Wu Huifei was left in the capital. She regretted that she could not participate in the Fengchan, and suddenly thought of Empress Wang. Empress Wang was pregnant, which put a lot of pressure on Wu Huifei. She was afraid that Empress Wang would give birth to a child. If that happened, her position would be unstable. Her dream of becoming an empress had always existed in her heart. She felt that there was no one important in the capital. She thought that she could think of something, so she began to arrange for people to go to Huayuan County to check. She also wanted to find an opportunity to make Empress Wang unable to give birth to a child. In the end, when Li Longji was almost at Mount Tai, her wish was not fulfilled. The people she sent did not even know where Empress Wang was, let alone poison her, or use any violent methods. Wu Huifei, who knew that she could not do anything to Empress Wang, began to think of the business between the Zhang family and the Wang family. She also wanted to use the bank, but she did not know where to start. She was not familiar with how a bank worked. She thought that the people from the Zhang family and the Wang family were too busy. So she began to use her identity to arrange for people to think of a way to cause losses to the business between the Zhang family and the Wang family. The simplest way was to cultivate competitors and affect the business between the Zhang family and the Wang family. The restaurant between the clouds and the water, and the supermarket were the places that were directly targeted. Maybe Wu Huifei's reputation played a role, or maybe she was lucky. When she just sent people to contact other businessmen, who did not have a business relationship with the Zhang family and the Wang family, she found people. Coincidentally, the people she sent out met a group of businessmen from the Jiangnan East Road in the East Market of the capital. Wu Huifei's people heard that the people from the Jiangnan East Road had been wandering around the capital for a few years. From time to time they would choose a business and take out money to do it. In the past 2 years, they had made more money, so more businessmen came to the capital. It was very easy to find them, although a new batch of businessmen would come to the capital every few months. Wu Huifei's people contacted the businessmen from the Jiangnan East Road under such circumstances. They did not say Wu Huifei's name directly, but only said that there was a powerful person in the imperial court looking after them, and asked them to cooperate with the business. The people that Wu Huifei sent out also had the surname Wu. They were from her brother's family, called Wu Feng. Once they heard this name, they would think that there was also Wu Yu Wu Lei, or something like that. The businessmen from the Jiangnan East Road were more united. The leader was the biggest businessman, called Jiang Lan. When they were wandering around the market, Wu Feng saw them and went over to them and said, "Are you guys looking for a good business in the capital?" Jiang Lan and the others were shocked by the people who suddenly appeared out of nowhere. When they heard the other party's question, they were very vigilant. Jiang Lan responded, "Just wandering around. I heard that the zoo in the capital is not bad, and there's also Changning Sunken Lake. I want to see all of them." Wu Feng knew that they did not mean what they said. He pulled Weiwei's outer clothes, revealing the gorgeous clothes inside for the businessmen to see. He said helplessly, "Size. If you're just looking, then forget it. I still want to find a partner to do a big business." Jiang Lan and the others were still very vigilant. They did not ask what the other party wanted to do out of curiosity, which meant that they were afraid that the other party was a liar. It was still Jiang Lan who spoke. "Our family is not rich enough to do a big business. We just want to take a look." "Yes, take a look." Sir, please. After speaking, the businessmen from the Jiangnan East Road left in a hurry. They found a restaurant in the Eastern Market to eat. They did not go to the restaurant opened by the Zhang family and Wang family, nor did they ask for a private room in this restaurant. It seemed that they wanted to listen to others talk. When the dishes were served and they were eating, Wu Feng, who had left earlier, coincidentally came to this restaurant. When he saw Jiang Lan and the others, he showed a very surprised expression and went up to greet them with a smile. I didn't expect to meet all of you here again. It's really fate. As he spoke, he did not join them to eat and drink. Instead, he chose a nearby table and sat down. After smiling at Jiang Lan, he looked for the waiter to order. After drinking, everyone's mood also relaxed. Wu Feng finally found an opportunity. Under the influence of alcohol, he said to Jiang Lan, "Do you all want to go to the zoo?" "That's right. Is there anything else?" Jiang Lan asked in surprise. "There's nothing else, but if you want to see the animals, you can't just spend the entrance fee. I heard that a few big bugs were just shipped from the north 2 days ago. There's also a deer with long horns. It hasn't been opened to the public yet. If you all want to take a look, I can help." Wu Feng started to take this opportunity to show his identity, hoping to make the other party look up to him. Jiang Lan and the others obviously did not believe him. Gently putting down the chopsticks, Jiang Lan said to Wu Feng, "Let's not trouble you, sir. We'll know when we go take a look later. Maybe the bugs and deer have already been opened." Her meaning was very clear. They could see it even without you. Of course, the prerequisite was that there were really bugs and deer. This time, Wu Feng could not say anything and could only eat and drink silently. When Jiang Lan and the others were almost done eating, they left after counting the money. Wu Feng, who still did not want to give up, followed them out. The zoo was not in the city. Firstly, there were not that many places. Secondly, the smell was bad in summer. No matter how it was cleaned, it was impossible to bathe the animals and brush their teeth all day long. Jiang Lan and the others hired a carriage and headed outside. By the time they reached the zoo, more than an hour had passed. This was because the Eastern Market was close to the Eastern City Gate. Some of the animals in the zoo were free for people to see, some could be seen with a few copper coins, and some could only be seen with a dozen copper coins. Many rich people from other places did not want to see less because of this small amount of money. They took out their money and wanted to see the animals from the beginning to the end. Jiang Lan and the others were the same. There were many animals in the zoo now. After looking at them one by one, they sold things specially for the animals and threw them over to feed them. Half a pig was carried and thrown into the pool where the crocodiles were kept. Seeing the crocodiles bite on the meat and roll back and forth in the water gave people a frightening feeling. The person in charge of the explanation began to explain to them why the crocodiles roll back and forth when they were eating. He said that the meat was too big to bite and could only be torn apart by the rolling of the body before eating. He also talked about the habits of the crocodiles. Those who did not spend money to buy meat also watched from the side and listened. They felt that they had gained a lot of knowledge. In the end, after looking around, they did not find any new bugs or deer with big horns. Pulling over a person from the zoo, Jiang Lan asked, "I heard that there were new bugs and deer that were transported from the north the day before yesterday. Where are they?" Hearing Jiang Lan's question, the person from the zoo seemed to be in a difficult position. After Jiang Lan gave him dozens of copper coins, he gritted his teeth and said, "Everyone, there are new animals, but not everyone can see them. We have to wait for people of noble status to see them before we can let others see them. Why don't you go see the giant panda? I can let you see it now." As he spoke, he prepared to lead Jiang Lan and the others to see the giant panda. According to the normal time, the giant panda would only be open to ordinary people after 10 days to half a month. However, Jiang Lan looked dissatisfied. She pulled the other party and asked, "What kind of person is considered noble? Does he have to spend more money?" "Not necessarily. Money is usually useful elsewhere, but it won't work here. This person has to at least have some power, such as an official of the 5th rank or above." The person from the zoo gave an example, which meant that it would not work even if you had money. At this moment, Wu Feng, who felt that he had found an opportunity, floated over like a ghost and said to Jianglan, "If everyone wants to see it, you can follow me. Tell your director that Wu Feng is here." So it's young Master Wu. Since young Master Wu wants to see it, there's no need to look for the director. Please follow me. Hearing that the latter half of Wu Feng's sentence was directed at him, the person from the zoo immediately smiled and led the group to another place. Jianglan and the rest looked at Wu Feng in shock. Jianglan carefully sized Wu Feng up and said, "I didn't expect young noble Wu to not lie. I was rude. I hope young noble Wu can forgive me." Well said, well said. If this one suddenly met someone, he would also think the same as everyone. Wu Feng did not know the other party's name. "This one is Jianglan. I'll have to trouble young Master Wu." Jianglan quickly introduced herself. After the group started talking, they walked and chatted. After seeing the Manchurian tiger and the red deer, their minds gradually shifted away from the animals. The more they talked, the more they got along. After a few days of meeting, Wu Feng finally started talking to Jianglan and the others about the business according to Wu Huifei's arrangement. Outsiders did not know what they were talking about, but when Li Longji came down from Mount Tai, the people from Jiangnan started withdrawing money from the banks in the capital to invest in the area. The first thing they did was to look for the location of the restaurant between the clouds and the water, and buy a place near or opposite it. It was not open yet, and was undergoing renovations. They also looked for chefs from other places. Even the chefs between the clouds and the water were thinking of ways to rope them in. When Wu Huifei heard the news, she was very happy. She felt that she could take revenge on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. She also chose to temporarily forget about the Empress Wang in her heart. Chapter 784. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan followed Li Longji's pilgrimage team back to the capital, 2 restaurants opened opposite the Savant's restaurant and the Joy residence. To be precise, they were a chain restaurant. The name of the chain restaurant didn't have words like gu, lu, or residence. These 4 words made people feel puzzled at first. It was unknown where the merchants of Jiangnan East Road found a good painter. Each restaurant had a large piece of cloth pasted on the front. On the cloth there was a painting of the blue sea, blue sky, coconut trees, sunshine, and beach. The blue sea silver sand suddenly became an alternative scenery among the restaurants in the capital. As soon as this name appeared, it spread around the capital. Wherever there was a restaurant between the clouds and the water around the capital, one could see the blue sea silver sand. Even the restaurant between the clouds and the water next to Sanshui County was affected. Zhang Wang and Gu San's restaurant in Sanshui County was next to Zhuangzi. Others couldn't buy it, but it could be bought in Huayuan County. The flagship store of the Blue Sea Silver Sand was open next to the restaurant between the clouds and the water. The same quality service, the same variety of new dishes, and the same membership system. The only difference was that the scenery between the clouds and the water was mainly ethereal. Wherever there was a restaurant between the clouds and the water, there would always be a little hazy. Not to mention the main restaurant in Sanshui County. The Blue Sea Silver Sand was mainly realistic. They even moved the sand into the restaurant, thinking that they could create a beach scene. When the 2 restaurants were compared, each had its own characteristics. It made people who liked to eat happy, and it also made many people watch the show. Some people were gloating and waiting for the 2 restaurants to compete with each other. Then, they would try their best to reduce the price so that they could enjoy better service with less money. Xiaobao, I remember that it freezes in Dalian in winter, right? Can't the people find work in winter? Wang Wan was sitting in the car with a charcoal pencil in her hand. She was writing and drawing on a piece of paper. The bumpy ride made her feel uncomfortable, so she stopped and asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was also thinking about how to make use of the time after the busy farming season. Normally speaking, there was not much to do in the northeast during winter. Hunters could hunt, but more people stayed at home and did not go out. Hearing Wang Wan's suggestion, he lowered his head and tried to think of a solution. They couldn't develop businesses, and the people had already exchanged all their money for winter food. Where would they have the money to go out and spend? They couldn't develop tourism either. Under the circumstances where the road was difficult to travel, who would spend a few months in advance to see the ice lanterns? Animal husbandry was also out of the question. If the seawater froze, fishing in the sea would become an extravagant hope. Wang didn't say anything. She waited by the side, hoping that Zhang Xiaobao could come up with a good idea. One was to increase the income of the local people, and the other was to reduce the loss of her family. Now it was free of charge. If the person sitting next to her wasn't Zhang Xiaobao, but someone in this era, Wang wouldn't expect him to come up with a solution at all. But if it was Zhang Xiaobao, it was a different story. She believed that in terms of economy, as long as Zhang Xiaobao was willing, there must be a good way to make use of the seemingly impossible resources. There would always be a small number of people, and there was the result. After waiting for half an hour, Zhang Xiaobao raised his head and said, "Develop handicrafts. If you don't want to go out to consume heat in cold weather, you can always stay at home. Let the people in Jili province paste paper boxes and print at home to prepare for this year and next year." Wang frowned slightly. What's the use of the paper boxes? For packaging goods. We will continue to cut down trees today. Dalian doesn't need so many trees. We will burn them into charcoal. Next year, when people go out to sea in spring, we will equip them with good ships to sell dried goods and build local brands. I want everyone to know that the dried goods in Jili province are the best, and the charcoal is also the most exquisite in Jili province. Zhang Xiaobao began to expand his thoughts, and then said, "Contact Xinlua. We will invest and build a large paper factory in Xinlua. We will use the local resources to provide a blessing to the local people." Wang was stunned for a moment. She reached out and pinched Zhang Xiaobao's face. With a hint of teasing and pride, she said, "Zhang Xiaobao, I asked you to come up with an idea to find trouble for the people in Jili province. As expected, you didn't weaken your reputation. When you were developing yourself, you started to scheme against Xinlua. I deny the false accusation of scheming against Xinlua. There is no environmental protection now. Even if our Jili province is also cutting down trees, we can't say that all their trees will be gone if we build a paper factory in Xinlua. And then some natural disaster will happen, right?" Zhang Xiaobao did not break free from Wang's hand, and his voice was unclear as he defended himself. "Who said that you were scheming in this aspect? You know very well in your heart. Don't think that I don't know the way people like you do things. As long as people like you make a move, they will definitely not have good intentions, especially to people from other countries." Wang placed both hands on Zhang Xiaobao's face and rubbed it hard. When she saw Zhang Xiaobao's face deform back and forth in her hands, she released her hands in satisfaction. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his face again. "I heard discrimination in your words. I won't be with you anymore. I'm going to tell stories to Xiaobei and the others. I'll go too. It looks like I won't be able to spend the new year with my family in Luoyang this year. I have to stay in Jili province in case others don't have enough food and target us." Wang jumped out of the car as well. Before the two of them could find Xiaobei, Gao Lisher's subordinate, Luobin, came over and said to the two of them, "Young Master Zhang, Lord Gao is looking for the two of you." The two of them looked at each other helplessly, and could only follow Luobin. "Luobin, do you know what's going on?" Zhang Xiaobao handed Luobin a golden bean without hiding anything. "I think it's about a new restaurant in the capital. His Majesty found out, so he sent me to find you." Luobin happily took the golden bean, and didn't hide anything. He told them what he knew. He knew that with Zhang Xiaobao's status, there was no need for him to curry favor with him, nor was he worried about His Majesty's mood. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang arrived beside Li Longji's car, they smelled the smell of barbecue. "It smells like shrimp," Wang said as she sniffled. "Yes, it looks like His Majesty is living a good life," Zhang Xiaobao added. Perhaps the people in the car heard their voices. When the door opened, Gao Lisher stuck his head out and waved at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang. The two of them directly entered from the side. The car was still moving, but it wasn't moving that fast. This car was made by the two of them for Li Longji. The interior was spacious, bumpy, and sturdy. It cost a lot of money. This was Li Longji's first time using it, so he didn't want to get out the moment he entered the car. You made a good car for me, so I'll treat you to some shrimp. Li Longji was very happy to see Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He gestured for the two of them to sit down and put the grilled shrimp on the plates in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If it were any other minister, they would be so grateful that Li Longji had personally grilled something for them. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not even have the slightest bit of gratitude. Grilled prawns were enough to pay for the carriage. Diamond prawns? Thank you, Your Majesty. This minister is so grateful. Zhang Xiaobao said. He skillfully peeled off the shell of the shrimp on the plate and put the untouched shell to the side. He then put the meat on Gao Lisher's plate. Li Longji also understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, so he didn't hear any sincerity in Zhang Xiaobao's words. He said indifferently, Minister Zhang, you don't have to be like this. Does Xiaobei like to eat shrimp? Zhang Xiaobao knew that Li Longji liked his younger siblings. The main reason was that his younger siblings weren't so restrained. Compared to Li Longji's own children, they were more lively and gave people a special feeling. Seeing that Li Longji was sincerely asking Xiaobei, he also said sincerely, Xiaobei likes to eat boiled shrimp. Grilled shrimp is fine too. I'll grill them for them now. As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he and Wang Wan began to put live shrimp on the iron plate one by one and grill them for their younger siblings. Li Longji sat there and watched the two busy and said to Gao Lisher, Lisher, Minister Zhang and Minister Wang have helped me solve a lot of problems in the north of Hebei province. Do you think that I should reward them? Gao Lisher knew that this was the emperor's heartfelt words. Since Xiao Bao and Cuckoo were sent to Jili province, they were much more obedient. During the pilgrimage, people from various commanderies came to deliver things, which was to pay tribute. They had also paid tribute before, but it was definitely not as much as this time. The amount of tributes this time was more than the sum of the previous 10 years. There were even a few prefectures that said they could pay taxes. These prefectures were the prefectures closest to Jili Prefecture. It was obvious why they could do so. They were afraid. They were afraid that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo would do something to them. They probably knew what Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had done in the past and knew their abilities. Didn't they see that they were suddenly scolded by the emperor? The emperor was naturally happy that one of his worries had been solved. However, he couldn't ask for any reward for his son, so he had to say, Your Majesty, what Governor Zhang and Minister Wang did was what officials should do. We can't reward them. Lord Gao is right. The two of us are just doing our duty. How can we reward them? Zhang Xiaobao said as he placed the grilled prawns on a plate beside him. It was awkward to say this, but it could only be said this way. It was official business. The people on the side, who were waiting to serve them at any time, also understood that this was a family having nothing better to do. Li Longji nodded slightly and said, Then I'll reward you with some prawns. Xiaobao, speaking of this roasted prawn, I heard that the blue sea silver sand makes it even better. Have you tried it? Zhang Xiaobao stopped what he was doing and looked up at Li Longji. He thought you asked me now. You know that I can't try it. Oh, so that's why. Your Majesty, I haven't tried it. I'll go and see it when I get back to the capital. The blue sea silver sand needs sand from the seaside. We can see if we can cooperate with them and sell them the fine sea sand from Jili province. Huh. Li Longji was slightly stunned. He felt that Zhang Xiaobao should feel the pressure. After all, the blue sea silver sand was against between the clouds and the water. Why was Zhang Xiaobao so calm and still thinking about doing business? It seemed that he already knew about the blue sea silver sand. Was he not afraid of being robbed? Moreover, the sand used by the blue sea silver sand had already been bought. It was the Dengzhou that the two of them said when they lied to him. So he said, Xiaobao, the blue sea silver sand has already cooperated with Dengzhou. You can't cooperate with Jili province, right? Why not? I can sell it to them at a cheaper price. People who do business won't reject cheap goods. I'll pick the best sand to sell, and ship after ship will come over. I don't expect to make a lot of money, as long as there is profit every time. Only with competition can there be development. Zhang Xiaobao emphasized the words, there is only development when there is competition. As for the meaning behind it, only Wang Wan understood. When Li Longji heard these words, he felt like he understood why Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have to worry about the competition in the restaurant. However, he didn't know why, but he didn't seem to have a deep enough understanding of these words. What went wrong? After thinking for a while, he asked, "What about the price of the sand in Dangzhou?" "That depends on your means. Under the condition of ensuring profit, whoever does better can sell the goods. If you can't compete with price, you can compete with quality. Details determine success or failure," Zhang Xiaobao explained. When Li Longji heard Zhang Xiaobao mention means, he thought that he wanted to use force to suppress others. But he found that was not the case. He asked again, "Is it the same for the restaurant?" "Of course. Between the clouds and the water has been the leader for a long time. It is easy to be overtaken by the second leader because the second leader has a target to catch up with, but the first leader doesn't. With pressure, there is motivation. It's better to have a chain restaurant, so that it can become a tripartite balance of forces." Zhang Xiaobao nodded and admitted it. Li Longji thought that Zhang Xiaobao would not do things so simply, but he couldn't figure out why he had such a feeling. If he had to describe it, it would be that everything was under Zhang Xiaobao's control. What was the reason why he didn't care about the new blue sea silver sand? Unable to understand, Li Longji decided not to think about it anymore. He would slowly observe in the future, and eventually be able to figure it out. Changing the topic, he said, "Xiaobao, Huan, this time you have provoked Kuyu. You must be very careful in the future." "Your Majesty, please rest assured. There is no problem in dealing with him. This year, we will make him pay the rent voluntarily." "What is the Commander-in-Chief's mansion in Song-Mo?" "Next year, starting from the Commander-in-Chief's mansion in Bohai from the east to the west, no one in the north of North Vanhe province can refuse to pay the rent," Wang Wan said proudly as she handed a plate full of prawns to Luo Bin, and asked him to give it to Xiaobei and the others. If it was someone else who said this, Li Longji wouldn't believe it. He would think that there was a problem with the other party's ability. But when it came from Wang Wan's mouth, it was a different matter. "Can it be so? How should we do it?" Li Longji's eyes brightened. If he could completely solve the matter in the north of North Vanhe province, it would save him a lot of trouble, and he could concentrate on other things. The current Tubo was already much less troublesome. Over there, they didn't dare to fight, and they were at a disadvantage when it came to exchanging food. It was all because of Xiaobao and Cuckoo. They wouldn't be able to recover by next year. "Your Majesty will know in a moment. Speaking of which, there are too many things involved. This year, let the Commander-in-Chief's mansion in Song-Mo pay the rent. At that time, Your Majesty will naturally understand." Chapter 785. Adhering to the principle of looking down on the enemy strategically and valuing the enemy tactically, Wang Wan didn't put Kutuyu in her eyes. Even if Kutuyu was a small legend in Khitan, he was still considered a small legend. After watching Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan leave the carriage, Li Longji picked up the glass full of wine and raised it to his mouth. He asked Gao Lisher, "I always feel that Xiaobao and Cuckoo are hiding something from me. What do you think?" "I think so too," Gao Lisher echoed. "If they want to hide it, then so be it. As long as they guard the northern part of Hebei province and prevent me from being distracted, it will be a great merit. If it weren't for the fact that the two of them are still young and Xiaobao hasn't taken the imperial examination, I really want to put the two of them in the imperial court." Li Longji felt that he should have such a mind. At the same time, he looked forward to Wang Wan's words becoming reality and making the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's office pay all the rent. He didn't care how much they had to pay. Paying less and not paying at all were two different things. That was acknowledging the status of the imperial court. Gao Lisher looked at the emperor from the side. After thinking for a while, he took out a heavy paper bag from his bosom. He had someone remove the grill and gently put it on the small table. "What is this?" Li Longji asked doubtfully. "A handgun. A handgun that can fire 12 bullets. Xiaobao gave it to this official for self-defense. Your Majesty, please take a look." Gao Lisher opened the paper bag, revealing the gray gun inside. He also took out 2 magazines and showed them to Li Longji. Li Longji didn't know what this gun was. Of course, he wasn't stupid enough to think that it was the same as the gun used in the army. If it was given to Gao Lisher for self-defense, then it should be better than a sleeve arrow. He reached out and took the magazines. While touching the cold shell, he watched Gao Lisher use a cloth to wipe the oil off the odd-shaped weapon. Your Majesty, the magazine in your hand can only be used when combined with the handgun. Like this. As Gao Lisher spoke, he picked up the other magazine and attached it to the pistol before passing it to Li Longji. Holding the gun, Li Longji naturally placed his index finger on the hook and turned to look at Gao Lisher. How do I use this? Your Majesty, you can't use it here. It can kill people. When you want to use it, you have to open this safety thing and pull the trigger at the person you want to attack. It's this hook. Then it can shoot out bullets. It can shoot 12 times in a row and kill people within 30 steps. Gao Lisher leaned to the side. He knew the power of this thing. He still had one on him. He had already tried it. It was not accurate, but he had a very intuitive understanding of the lethality of the bullet. The reason why Xiaobao gave this to His Majesty is probably because Xiaobao has something even better. I wonder how many more surprises I will be able to see in the future? Gao Lisher did not know why Zhang Xiaobao suddenly took out such a powerful thing, but he thought that his godson must have something better. Otherwise, he would definitely keep it a secret. Li Longji did not touch the safety. He was also afraid that he would accidentally injure himself. He only used his hand to stroke the gun. He thought about what Gao Lisher said about killing someone within 30 steps. This was not surprising to him. If he used a bow, he could also kill someone within 100 steps. The most important thing was that he could shoot 12 times in a row. If there were 100 people, and each of them had one, within 30 steps, wouldn't it become a land of death? Thinking of this, Li Longji could not help but look at the sky. He ordered the troops to stop and walked out with Gao Lisher. Naturally, there were many people around them, including the ministers. They did not know why the emperor stopped. Find a place for this emperor to test the handgun. Li Longji ordered Gao Lisher. The place was easy to find. Once the people were separated, a small area was formed. While Gao Lisher had people draw targets, he also explained to Li Longji how to use the pistol. He especially mentioned the recoil, otherwise, it wouldn't do if the emperor's wrist was shaken. After the targets were done, Li Longji raised the gun and aimed at them according to Gao Lisher's instructions. He glanced at Gao Lisher and said, "Lisher, shoot first." Gao Lisher did not take the gun from the emperor. He put his hands together and took out the gun from his sleeve. People behind the target move away. With a whoosh, the people behind him moved away as fast as they could. They knew that this thing was called a target. Although they did not see a bow, they knew that it must be very dangerous. The target was not placed 30 meters away, only 10 meters away. Even so, Gao Lisher raised his hand seriously and aimed at it again and again. Only then did he shoot a bullet. There was a hole on the wooden target. There was also a mark on the thick wood behind the target. The bullet should have gone in. So this is what you call a hit. Li Longji walked forward to take a look and asked, "Your Majesty, this subject just got the handgun not long ago, so I couldn't hit the target accurately. I only got 6 points. I might be able to hit the body if I aim at it, but I can't hit the head." Gao Lisher was very embarrassed. His godson said that he must hit at least 9 points on the 10-meter target if he did not move. Li Longji nodded and returned to his original position. He raised the gun and said, "This emperor will also try." He opened the safety and aimed with one eye. He made a 3-point line. He looked at the target again. It was better than Gao Lisher. He got 7 points. He continued until all 12 bullets in the gun were fired. The best result was 8 points. The worst result. Looking at the 11 holes on the target, it was clear that this was definitely not a case of 2 bullets hitting 1 hole. Is anyone hurt? Look at the people around you. Gao Lisher asked nervously. Everyone looked and shook their heads. No one made a sound. Fortunately, it seemed that no one was hurt. It should have flown past the target and hit the wood behind it. Li Longji shook his wrist that was numb and sore from the impact. He looked at the people around him and said, "Lisher, does this require frequent practice? Are the bullets expensive?" It should be so. This subject does not know if the bullets are expensive or not. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo gave this subject 500 bullets. When your majesty is done, let them send more. Your majesty, the Khitans, Tubo, and Turkic people are also watching. Gao Lisher replied and reminded him again. This emperor wants them to see. They don't have this kind of weapon. I want to see if they are afraid. The reason why Li Longji came out to test the gun was to show others his strength. As expected, his method was effective. The people around him moved closer to the wood to look. The bullets were embedded in it. Someone used a chisel to cut open the empty space. When they saw the depth of the bullets, they all secretly gasped. This was much more powerful than ordinary bows and arrows. Most importantly, the speed of the bullets was very fast. If any army was equipped with this kind of weapon, who would be able to fight against it? Zhang Shup used his hands to dig out the bullets that were still warm. They looked like metal lumps. He approached Li Longji and asked, Your Majesty, what is this? Was it made by the Ministry of War and the Ministry of Works? What he meant was why he did not know that there was a weapon that could be used continuously. If the metal lumps in his hands were to hit someone's body, what good would that person do? This is called a pistol. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo gave this emperor something to play with. Someone call Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan over. Li Longji removed the magazine and replaced it with another one. He was very satisfied. Zhang Shua had actually guessed that it was made by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He was angry that he did not know. He was the prime minister, but he had not even heard of a new weapon. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were too unreasonable. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were playing their roles in a children's play for Xiaobei, and the others when they were called away by Luo Bin. Xiaobei and the others curiously followed to watch. Xiaobao, Cuckoo over here. When Gao Lisher saw the two, he hurriedly waved his hand. Foster father, I wonder if this child is here? Zhang Xiaobao walked over in confusion. When he saw the target in front of him, he understood. Test the gun. Li Longji passed the gun over. Shoot a dozen and see. Your Majesty, this subject has brought it with him. I have always brought it with me. Zhang Xiaobao did not take it. He reached for his waist, and a gun appeared in his hand. Wang Wan did the same. The two of them immediately squatted and stood, waiting for Li Longji to say begin. Li Longji did not question why Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had brought weapons to see him. After all, the two of them had been in charge of protecting him on the way here. He nodded and said, That's enough. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard the continuous popping sounds. When the popping sounds stopped, he looked at the target again. Only the middle part of the target, which represented the 10th ring, had a hole. The surrounding 9 rings were all undamaged. Li Longji was stunned for a moment. Only then did he go around the target to look at the wood behind it. He saw that there were 2 large holes not far from the top and bottom of the wood. It was a mess. He did not need to think too much to know that it was not Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan who had made the bullets miss, but that they had all passed through the 10th ring. Because Zhang Xiaobao was squatting and Wang Wan was standing, the trajectory of the bullets was slightly off. Li Xiaogu, the nominal master of the Khitans, looked at the marks on the wood, then looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He finally knew what kind of ability his neighbors had. If they were to fight with 2 people at a distance of more than 10 steps, no one would be able to touch them. Is 30 steps okay? Li Longji envied Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's accuracy, and was prepared to increase the difficulty. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. He was already used to the gun in his hand. He and Wang Wan had already fired no less than 1,000 bullets. In addition, the two of them were very familiar with each other, so they had already honed their skills. A new target was placed 30 steps away. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan reloaded their magazines and looked at each other. Zhang Xiaobao fired first, and as soon as the first sound rang out, Wang Wan also fired. The rhythm of the two of them was very stable, and their shooting speed was also very fast. In just a few blinks of the eye, there was a burst of movement. When they looked at the target again, this time, it was not at the 10th ring that was hit. Instead, it was at the next ring on the side. It was pulled horizontally from one end to the other. The entire target swayed twice and suddenly fell down. If people at the time of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan saw this, they would definitely be frightened. The two of them used 2 pistols to shoot the effect of automatic rifles. 24 bullets were pulled from one end to the other. It was like the box cannons placed horizontally many years ago. When 2 box cannons were used well, they could shoot the effect of sweeping fire. Although the others didn't know what the effect of the strafing shot was, they understood that it wasn't that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't aim accurately and didn't hit the 10 points. It was that they did it on purpose. Shooting horizontally one after another, it wasn't worse than hitting the 10 points. Good, reward them. Li Longji was overjoyed. Looking at the frightened and shocked eyes of the people sent by other countries, he knew that they would be more obedient. If anyone was not obedient, he would send such troops. The person who was most afraid was actually Li Xiaogu. His chitin was too close to Jili province. Who knew how many pistols Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would equip the troops therewith? Even though the shooting distance was not very far, in a real battle, unless one ran away immediately after hitting, who would be able to withstand the sudden appearance of a group of people armed with pistols when they were still 20 steps away from the other side and started attacking them? Wouldn't one be invincible in a close battle? He was right. When fighting with a bayonet, it was much safer to have a pistol in hand. Your Majesty, there is no need to reward us. It is just a small skill. We can master it with more practice, Zhang Xiaobao said modestly. Governor Zhang is right. The 2 of us are indeed good at practicing. When we go back, we will form a 1,000-man pistol battalion to protect our country and expand our territory. Wang Wan was also modest. The most important thing was the 1,000-man pistol battalion. When Li Xiaogu heard this, he trembled. What did Wang Wan want to do? 1,000 people to expand the territory? In which direction? Did his chitin count as having finished expanding? Li Longji knew that it was impossible for Wang Wan to form a 1,000-man pistol battalion. With one look, he could tell that the pistols were exquisitely made. Each pistol cost a few hundred strings of coins. If 1,000 people were equipped, it would cost hundreds of thousands of strings of coins. They were not stupid. She said this just to scare them. It seemed that they were frightened. We agree to this. Give me 10,000 more pistols for my use. Li Longji cooperated and gave the impression that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could take out a lot of pistols at any time for free. Other people had never even touched a pistol before, so how would they know the cost of a pistol? It felt like a kitchen knife. They could get it whenever they wanted. Uncle Emperor This subject is also very accurate. The most lively Xiaobei jumped out and also took out a pistol. It looked even more beautiful than the one in Li Longji's hand. Li Longji was shocked. He was afraid that Xiaobei's pistol would suddenly hurt someone. After thinking carefully, he realized that something was wrong. It was impossible for Xiaobei to hold this subject's pistol so easily. Minister Zhang is also here? Let us see the pistol in your hand. Li Longji did not know why he liked Xiaobei. Whenever he saw Xiaobei, he would feel happy. And here, this subject will bring bullets for Uncle Emperor. This subject has brought a lot of bullets. Xiaobei passed the pistol over and took out a small handful of round wooden bullets from his pocket. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not dare to use the ball bearings on them. The power of a BB gun was not small. It could also blind people if it hit their eyes. Usually, Xiaobei and the others would have to wear helmets when they fought. Li Longji knew that the pistol was made of wood. It was rosewood, which was relatively sturdy. He symbolically hit it twice and found that the bullets were not very close. He nodded and patted Xiaobei's head. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Follow us back." The group dispersed and the troops continued to move forward. However, there was a different feeling in everyone's heart. The people of Great Tang were proud, but the people of Khitan, Tubo, Turkic Xinlua Neon, and other countries were worried. Compared to Li Xiaogu's fear, the people of Tubo were also not relaxed. At this moment, the people of Tubo knew why their country could not recover. It was all because of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan had beaten their country until they lost their morale. Zhang Xiaobao was even more ruthless. Now they had seen the power of another kind of war. It seemed that they had to send people back as soon as possible to tell the people in the country to be more well-behaved, especially the east side of Jinchuan. Otherwise, if Wang Wan was happy, she would bring people to kill them. Who would be able to withstand that? They were already very powerful when they did not have pistols. Hand over 100 pistols, we will use them as guards. Li Longji brought Zhang Xiaobao and the others back to the carriage and impatiently asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Xiaobei and the others obediently stayed at the side. Luckily, the carriage was big enough, or else it would not be able to fit them all. Since Zhang Xiaobao took it out, he would naturally prepare it for Li Longji. The second generation could already be produced, and the third generation was also being researched. There was no need to continue to keep the first generation a secret. Otherwise, if it was kept a secret for too long and Li Longji found out, the game might not be able to continue. Wouldn't life be too boring? He agreed. When we return to the capital, I will send over 150 pistols and 30,000 bullets. Your Majesty, this is not a small amount of money. A bullet costs more than 50 copper coins, and there are also guns. Li Longji played along and ignored Zhang Xiaobao's words. Instead, he hugged Xiaobei and asked, Xiaobei, tell Uncle Emperor, what is the first line of Guanju in the Book of Songs? Guanju Jujiu, in the land of rivers. A fair and virtuous woman, a gentleman's good mate. Xiaobei answered very straightforwardly. He did not know the specific meaning, but he had memorized it. If he did not memorize it, there would be trouble listening to the story. Correct, I confer upon you the title of Tong Zhilang. Xiaohai, come here. I ask you, the length of the rope is 10 qi. Wrap around the tree, for qi after 2 rounds, 1 qi after 3 rounds. Ask the tree the length of the circumference. Li Longji asked Xiaohai. Xiaohai did not want to answer. It was too simple, but he had to say, 3 qi. Good, I also confer upon you the title of Tong Zhilang. Xiaoyuan, what does it mean by learning and practicing happily? Li Longji continued to ask. It means that when learning, I often. Xiaoyuan answered very straightforwardly. Xiaozhu, let me ask you. After a series of questions and answers, the group of little fellows were all promoted. Their official titles were the same. Tong Zhilang went from being a rank 7 official to a rank 6 official. Your Majesty, I suddenly thought that if you want people to shoot more accurately, you will need a large amount of bullets. I am prepared to take out 90,000 bullets for your Majesty's bodyguards to practice. I will also add 50 more handguns. Each of them will be equipped with 2 guns. After training hard, they can become like me and Cuckoo. They can shoot continuously with 2 guns. Zhang Xiaobao looked like he had just realized something. He sincerely wanted to help Li Longji form the handgun bodyguards. He did not mention how much money he had to spend. He even took out a lot of bullets and guns. Gao Lishir did not say anything. He knew that even if the emperor did not promote Xiaobao and Cuckoo, he would still promote them. However, it would not be fun to do so. He did not know why the emperor treated Xiaobao and Cuckoo differently from other people. He had to play this kind of boring game for others to watch. If he took a little advantage or suffered a little loss, he would haggle over it and prepare to get it back next time. He conferred a bunch of rank 6 officials. It seemed like he wanted to give them more money. In fact, the amount of money that the Zhang family and Wang family took out every year for disaster relief was not even enough for a family's 10 years of salary. Chapter 786. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan promised some benefits, they brought a group of promoted youngsters back to their own ranks. It was time for them to get new uniforms made. 6th rank officials were not allowed to wear 7th rank uniforms, and they also had to change their seals. The 2 families were already used to preparing their own uniforms and seals. You can actually shoot so accurately. It would be great if someone came to assassinate us when we were climbing Mount Tai. Looking at the group of children leaving, Li Longji's sudden words almost scared Gao Lishir to death. Your Majesty, please don't think like that. When the time comes, you will be safe and sound, but the bodyguards in charge of protecting you will be beheaded. Yes, when we go back, we will build a shooting range for handguns. We will train to be better than Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Li Longji said unconvinced. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left, Zhang Shuo came in. He was still thinking about the handguns. As soon as he entered the emperor's carriage, he did not have time to admire the luxury of the carriage and said, Your Majesty, what do you want to do about the handguns? Li Longji knew what Zhang Shua was thinking. The head of the secretariat had something that he could not control. He felt uncomfortable, but he also felt uncomfortable. The pilgrimage of Mount Tai this time was actually all Zhang Shua's people. When he was drafting the list, he knew that Zhang Shua and Xiaobao had a conflict with Cuckoo. He did not expect that Zhang Shua would dare to disregard others and force his own people to join. When he thought about how Xiaobao and Cuckoo had drafted the list, it was obviously for the sake of balance. It was not their own people, but Zhang Shua did not see through it. It was too unreasonable. The more he thought about it, the more uncomfortable Li Longji felt. When he saw Zhang Shua mention the handguns, he asked, "Official Zhang, what do you suggest?" "Your Majesty, handguns are sharp weapons. They can kill people almost invisibly. Compared to arrows, they have a shorter range. However, they have a fast firing speed and are easy to carry. They are lighter than bows, and bullets are lighter than arrows. They are invincible when attacking cities. If this weapon falls into the hands of others, it will be a threat to the imperial court. Your Majesty should personally watch over them." Zhang Shua made the handguns sound very powerful to make the emperor feel threatened. "Watch over them personally? Am I the one who stares at the pistol workshop all day? Then who is in charge of the court?" Li Longji asked. "Naturally, there is no need for your Majesty to watch over him all day long. You can send a loyal person to do it." Zhang Shua realized that the emperor seemed to have some opinions about him today. Xiaobao was unfaithful to Cuckoo? Someone from the Zhang family and the Wang family was disloyal. In the end, someone else had to take care of it. So what if it was placed in the hands of Xiaobao and Cuckoo? Could it be that he was going to be placed in the head of the secretariat? Can Zhang Qing lead someone to make a better pistol? Li Longji asked one question after another. With each question, his tone became more and more severe. At this time, Gao Lishir spoke. He was not talking about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He was talking about himself. "Your Majesty, this subject is guilty. This subject's adopted son is not at ease. This subject did not teach him well. Why don't you remove their official positions and transfer them back from Jili Prefecture? This subject will carefully teach them and be loyal." Hearing Gao Lishir's words, Zhang Shua regretted it. Just now he had rushed over impulsively. The emperor kept calling them Xiaobao and Cuckoo. It was very clear that these two children had a place in the emperor's heart. And it's what Lishir said. Transfer Xiaobao and Cuckoo back from Jili Prefecture to teach them. Also, put the pistol manufacturing under the palace secretariat. Zhang Qing will recommend the two to Jili Prefecture. Li Longji spoke while Zhang Shua was thinking about how to eliminate the consequences of rushing over in a hurry. Zhang Shua suddenly felt a chill on his back. His clothes were immediately wet and his scalp was numb. He was not afraid that the pistol manufacturing would be under the palace secretariat. Even if the emperor was slightly dissatisfied, as long as he found a good craftsman and studied it carefully, he believed that the pistol would be better. What he was afraid of was Gao Lishir's resentment. He did not know how fierce the emperor's revenge would be in the future. What he was more afraid of was that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would be transferred back from Jili Prefecture. Even if he was unwilling to admit it, he had to think about what would happen to Jili Prefecture without Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Except for the two of them, it seemed that no one could guard that place well. If he let the people he recommended, who could nail that place firmly like a nail and suppress the entire northern Hebei province, so that no one dared to make a move. Who would be willing to take out so much money to send daily necessities to 130,000 people? If it were two people who went over, and it was him who recommended them, but suddenly saw an opportunity and started a war, would the people he arranged be able to lead the soldiers of Jili Prefecture to victory? Seeing that Zhang Shua was speechless, Li Longji also did not make a sound. How could he not know the role of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? Looking at the two of them through Tufan, Boixing County and now Jili Prefecture, wherever the two of them were, it was very stable. The two of them, one in the military and one in the government, cooperated very well. The most important thing was that the two of them, as well as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, did not seem to have any ambition. Once they had something good, they immediately took it out and showed it to him like it was a treasure. Now he could take the opportunity to knock some sense into Zhang Shua and make him restrain himself. In this stalemate, Luo Bin came back and congratulated Li Longji. Your Majesty, congratulations, congratulations, Your Majesty. There is news from Yaowang Mountain in Huayuan County. The Empress is about to give birth after the new year. The doctor said that it is twins. Oh, is that so? Originally, Li Longji was prepared to give up on Empress Wang and wanted to depose her. Later on, Empress Wang went to Huayuan County and came back. Not only did she become more beautiful, her performance in bed had also improved. She was also more sensible than before. She was no longer the Empress Wang who only knew how to practice martial arts and fight. Now that he heard that Empress Wang was pregnant with 2 children, Li Longji, who had given up on the idea of dethroning the Empress, was very happy. Your Majesty, I believe that the doctor from Dai Medical College would not lie. However, the Empress cannot come back for the new year. She is currently receiving prenatal education at Yaowang Mountain. Luo Bin did not understand what prenatal education was. The letter sent by the person said so he just replied like that. Li Longji, who wanted to see Empress Wang very much, had to give up on the idea of letting Empress Wang come back. He was also afraid that something would happen on the way. It was better to leave her at Yaowang Mountain. That place was controlled by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Without waiting for Li Longji to speak, Zhang Shua, who felt that he had found an opportunity, spoke first. Congratulations, Your Majesty. I will go back now and have someone choose a gift and send it to Yaowang Mountain. Yes, Minister Zhang, thank you for your efforts. Li Longji no longer had the intention to continue beating Zhang Shua. He was only looking forward to the birth of the child. Zhang Shua, who was completely drenched, finally left the carriage. He came outside and let out a long breath. He was afraid and jealous. He understood that once Empress Wang gave birth to the child, she would definitely take care of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan more. With Gao Lishir, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to touch the 2 of them. Gao Lishir was also happy for Empress Wang. He was not in favor of dethroning the Empress. In the past, Empress Wang did not have any other abilities, but she managed the harem very well. According to Xiaobao's words, this was called charisma. Now that she had a child, there was no reason to dethrone her. Your Majesty, this is a happy occasion from the heavens. Are you going to reward the 3 armies? In the future, Xiaobei will have more playmates. The Empress will be safe at Yaowang Mountain. Reward, of course, there must be a reward. Li Longji happily agreed. At the same time, he was also considering whether to teach his 2 children to Xiaobao and Cuckoo. It could be seen from Xiaobei and the others that under Xiaobao and Cuckoo's guidance, they were smarter and cuter than ordinary children. The most important thing was that the Zhang family and Wang family seemed to have a set of things that were specially used to teach their children. Just look at the nutrition that Xiaobei and the others ate every day. Until now, none of their children had died. In addition, they had the best doctors to watch over them, and the most stringent protection. There was no need to worry that the 2 children would die early like Li Yi. This subject will go and arrange it. Gao Lishir, who was also happy, left behind a sentence and went out of the carriage to arrange the reward for the 3 armies. When Luo Bin saw that he had not received a reward yet, he had no choice but to continue talking about things that would make the emperor happy. Your Majesty, when we were on our way back, Provincial Governor Zhang and Adjunct Officer Wang met me. They said that they have prepared many things for the babies, and have already sent them to Yaowang Mountain in Huayuan County. They have also sent medical personnel from Luzhou to rush over as soon as possible. Your Majesty, don't worry. When Li Longji heard this, he remembered that there was still a person who was announcing the good news. He glanced at the other palace maids and eunuchs before he said, "Reward the people in the carriage today with 100,000 coins and 20 bolts of silk. Reward Provincial Governor Zhang. If you don't reward the 2 of them, reward Xiaobei and the others with money. If you don't give them money, I'll make Xiaobei and the others with the title of Imperial Grandee." After rewarding the people in the carriage, Li Longji remembered Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan and the others. He wanted to reward the 2 of them, but he found that there was nothing to reward. In the end, he could only give them to Xiaobei and the others. Xiao Bei and the others who had just been promoted to a rank 6 official had not even finished making their clothes when they lost their rank 6 official rank and became a rank 5 official. Luo Bin acknowledged the order and hastily ran out to report the good news to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. At this moment, Xiao Bei and the others were choosing cloth. Originally, they were wearing light green clothes rank 7 official rank. Now they were choosing dark green clothes. They were considering whether they should use Sichuan brocade or Suzhou brocade. They should wear silk, muslin or satin. When Luo Bin came, he was rewarded with a pair of beautiful glass apples and a large ingot of gold. I'll wear light red clothes and get a silver fish pouch. Xiao Bei, who had been promoted again, already knew what color the clothes should be. He tossed the dark green cloth aside and did not want it anymore. Xiao Bao, it seems that we have to strengthen the defenses at Yaowang Mountain. No problems are allowed to happen there, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao as she looked at her happy younger siblings. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. Seal the mountain. From now on, until Empress Wang gives birth, no one is allowed to go up the mountain. Explain to the outside world that it is undergoing renovation. Put some projects that can be moved down under Yaowang Mountain. Send 20 members of Team Zero to guard it. Also, all the restaurants between the clouds and the water and the sea and clouds are located in various places. Don't bring the money back in the near future. Just put it in their area, the most remote and farthest Tang Bank. Send the money over and have people build good relations with the local wealthy families. Carry out other business cooperation first. What? Are you worried that something will happen? It's not that I'm worried, but that something will happen soon. It will probably happen after the Spring Festival. Write a letter back and ask the Tang Bank to increase the reserve ratio. Prepare to open the deposit account with interest at any time. Ask Li Sun and the businessmen we first cooperated with not to make big investments recently, and to keep the money in hand. The deposits of the banks in the capital this year have increased abnormally in the past month. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and continued to make arrangements. Run on the bank? Wang Wan asked. Yes, they're using a single point to expose the truth. That's what they're trying to do. Once they're able to hold on, they'll be safe in the future. Tomorrow or the day after, tell Li Longji that we're going to issue 3-year government bonds. Jili province should have already started the plan for Songsha Commandery. Is there anything else to add? Write a letter as soon as possible. Not at the moment. Let the people between the clouds and the water gather supplies as quickly as possible. I think Li Longji will do something at the last minute. It must be fast, no matter how much it costs. Li Longji's reward made the soldiers happy, and they all did their work more seriously. When they found out that the Empress was going to have a child, many people sent their blessings. The news spread as quickly as possible, and then a large amount of supplies were sent to Huayuan County. This was done for the Emperor and Empress Wang to see. Perhaps they wouldn't get any benefits from the gifts, but if there was trouble, they might be taken care of because of the gifts they sent today. The people who sent the gifts might not remember them, but if they didn't send the gifts, they definitely wouldn't care when there was trouble. Overjoyed, Li Longji held a grand bonfire party that very night. Fortunately, Zhang Xiaobao had predicted his intentions in advance, so the bonfire party went off without a hitch. The red flames made Li Longji's face red. He stood up and looked at the flames from afar. Li Longji held a cup of wine and urged the officials to drink. Li Xiaogu drank the hot wine, but his heart was cold. He didn't care that Empress Wang was going to have a child, and he didn't care whether the soldiers were happy or not. What he cared about was how the people between the clouds and the water could get all the supplies ready when Li Longji suddenly proposed to hold a bonfire party. This was the most frightening part. Could it be that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were in charge of Jili province, had such a strong foundation? If they could prepare a bonfire party today, they could also prepare the logistics during a war. He hoped that Kutiyu wouldn't make trouble for him. Otherwise, he would see again how powerful the famous logistics camp in Izhou province was. Li Longji also knew how much pressure Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would have to hold a bonfire party at the last minute. He was waiting for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to come to him and ask him to mobilize the supplies from the provincial government. He didn't expect that the people between the clouds and the water would immediately send all the supplies over when he proposed it in the evening. They didn't even lack wood for the bonfire. Could it be that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo have learned how to predict the enemy's advance and calculate my last plans so well? Li Longji drank the wine in his cup and said to Gao Lishir when Gao Lishir poured him another cup, "Your Majesty, if not, how could the northern part of Hebei province be suppressed and not dare to do anything? The gunboats that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo mobilized just now blew up the army of Daxing City." Gao Lishir didn't expect that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo could do so well. He explained to the emperor when he was happy for them. Chapter 787. When Li Longji's team was about to return to the capital, it was getting closer and closer to the new year. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who wanted to rest in the capital, had to separate from the team in advance and head to Jili province at the fastest speed. Li Xiaogu, the person with the highest status in Khitan, also went with them. Li Xiaogu didn't go with Zhang Xiaobao willingly. He counted the days and found that even if he went back, he couldn't make it in time for the new year. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could go back to Jili province on the 28th or 29th of December. If he wanted to go by land, he would have to go on the road. But he couldn't refuse Zhang Xiaobao's invitation. Zhang Xiaobao said, "The people of Jili province invite you to spend the new year together and improve communication between the two places." Wang Wan said, "You shouldn't hurt the good wishes of the people." Li Xiaogu had to go. He was afraid of giving Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan an excuse to send troops. He had seen the power of pistols before. Once the Song Mo Commander-in-Chief's office fought with Jili province, unless they didn't fight at close quarters, his people would fall like wheat being cut down. Not fighting at close quarters was in line with Wang Wan's fighting style. Light cavalry came and went like the wind. Even though Tu had repeatedly said that Wang Wan's method of battle was wrong, that she was always relying on luck to win by surprise, that this method of using troops would not last long, who would dare to use this kind of reason to prove that they could force Wang Wan to clash head-on with you? Li Xiaogu also wanted to see the development of Jili province. Everyone said that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were amazing and built the place very well. Seeing was believing. The fleet moved quickly with the sails. Xiaobei and the others' days were as fulfilling as usual. They played games, studied, listened to stories, slept and ate. Xiaobei, who had been promoted to a 5th-rank official, had to walk around every day. She wanted people to see her beautiful clothes to prove that she was a genuine 5th-rank official. She had a gold fish pouch on one side of her waist and a silver fish pouch on the other side. The gold fish pouch was allowed by Li Longji, so she could wear it even if her rank wasn't high enough. When it was time for them to reach the sea, Zhang Gang, who rarely came to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, came over. He was Chang Hu's son. Zhang Fang followed behind him. Zhang Fang looked very shy and a little scared. "You two didn't sleep?" Wang Wan, who was discussing with Zhang Xiaobao how to organize activities in Jili province during the spring festival, stood them up and went to make arrangements first. When she saw the two kids, she pulled them into her arms and asked. Zhang Fang didn't say anything. She buried her head in Wang Wan's arms. Zhang Gang mustered up his courage and said, "Sister Cuckoo, I want to ask, is it true that powerful weapons make people powerful?" Hearing Zhang Gang's question, Wang Wan was stunned. She turned to look at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao came over, touched the little girl's head, and said, "It depends on the weapon. As long as it can't exterminate a whole family in one go, it may not be powerful. Even if it can break through a 1,000-man pistol team, your sister Wang Wan can still beat him without a pistol. Weapons are dead, people are alive. Don't always think about fighting. Those who are good at fighting have no outstanding achievements. The best generals are those who can subdue others without fighting." Is it like Sister Cuckoo now? Even if you don't beat people, people are still afraid. Is brother powerful or Sister Cuckoo powerful? Zhang Gang was much more sensible now. He began to think about what he would do when he took over as the patriarch in the future. This was the result that Xiaobei always instilled in him. Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything this time. He didn't want the little girl to be exposed to the darkness of human nature too early. Wang Wan said, "There is no one who is the most powerful. It only depends on who is more suitable. Now your brother Xiao Bao is the most suitable. Can you recite the Tao Te Ching? Your brother Xiao Bao can fight now. He is very good at fighting. War doesn't have to use force. Force is only a guarantee and a deterrent. Now the little girl couldn't understand. Wasn't war about killing people? How did it become about fighting without fighting? In order to make her understand as much as possible, Zhang Xiaobao asked, "Who is the most powerful when you are together?" "Xiaobei," the two little guys replied at the same time. "Why?" Zhang Xiaobao asked again. "She can make others stand with her. If anyone provokes her, she will not let others play with him." Xiao Gang had a deep understanding. "Did she beat you?" "No. This is what the art of war says. Attack one region together and get one person. Go back and think about how to deal with this situation." "Okay, brother Xiaobao, don't tell Xiaobei. Otherwise she will know in advance. She is very powerful." "Yes, Pinky, promise. Promise me for 100 years and you won't change." Seeing the two little guys leave one after the other, Wang Wan shook her head helplessly. "Xiaobao, do you think we taught them too much? I don't know if it is good or bad." "Who said that childhood can only be about not knowing anything? It's fine as long as they're happy. Protecting the peace of kind people requires someone to choose to scheme. There has to be someone who is evil. How they choose depends on their own development. And we can use the method of subduing the enemy without fighting this new year." Zhang Xiaobao looked in the direction of Li Xiaogu's cabin as he spoke. Li Xiaogu had no idea that someone was thinking about him, and in truth he didn't need to know. He was currently very restless. As he traveled with the ship, he wanted to understand as much as possible about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. In the end, he realized that the more he knew, the more he would not be able to understand. He had seen Little Hai teach arithmetic to his younger siblings. Even he found it difficult to understand what he was talking about, but Little Hai seemed very relaxed when he was talking about it. When he asked Little Hai if he knew a lot, Little Hai's answer shocked him. At the time, Xiao Hai had told him, "The more you know, the more you discover your ignorance. When you can calculate the ends of the sea, there is still the starry sky." Li Xiaogu was frightened by these thoughts, and also by their age. If they knew so much at such a young age, wouldn't there be many more Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan when they got older? Was it not enough for the great Tang to have a pair? The Kitans could not find such children. "Come in." When Li Xiaogu was taking a nap, he was frightened by his dream and broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't have time to wipe it and shouted to the outside of the cabin. The person in charge of protecting him opened the door and came in, saying respectfully, "Master, I'm here. Have you contacted the Commander-in-Chief's mansion?" Li Xiaogu dreamed that one day, countless troops of the Great Tang slaughtered the Kitans one by one with cannons like the Geely State's gunboats and pistols he saw on the road. After waking up from the shock, he remembered the situation in the Commander-in-Chief's mansion. "Yes, I'm about to tell you that they are doing well. Geely State has sent a lot of things, including oil, salt, silk, and even taught the local people how to build Kong beds. All of these are free of charge. There is also a large amount of food, which is sold to the Commander-in-Chief's mansion at a very low price." The guard told Li Xiaogu what he had just learned. Li Xiaogu picked up a cup of water and gulped it down. Only then did he feel that his throat was not so dry. He wiped his sweat and asked, "Did Geely State make any request?" "No." "Well, you can leave now." Li Xiaogu rubbed his head and watched the door close. He said to himself, "What do Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan want to do? Are they really kind and want to help the Commander-in-Chief's mansion? Be careful, you must be careful. Could to you, you are too strong. The Emperor of the Great Tang can't stand it anymore. Now he sent Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan here. I hope you can still deal with them." In the Commander-in-Chief's mansion of Song Mo, Kutuyu was also puzzled. Geely State had sent a lot of things recently. Except for the food that was sold at a very low price, the other things were free of charge. There were medicines for curing diseases, dry goods from the sea, and silk for making clothes. Although the silk looked a little worse and was damaged, it could be used to make things and could be used as money. Could it be that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were afraid of him? It seemed impossible. There were 130,000 people and 10,000 soldiers in Jili state. It was better to expect the sun to rise from the west than to say that they were afraid of him. The price of food was too cheap. It was so cheap that a good fur could be exchanged for half a month's worth of food. It was so cheap that the labor required to grow the food here was not as good as hunting. He had to be careful not to let them drag the people in the commander-in-chief's mansion to Jili state. Thinking of this, Kutuyu suddenly shouted to the outside, "Someone, tell the people who know that all the things were sent here from Jili state not to spread it out." After the people outside answered, he looked at the bow hanging on the wall and shouted again, "Tell the people in charge that they don't have to rush to farm after the new year. Let them practice martial arts diligently. Let them go hunting and exchange more things with their prey." After the people outside answered again, Kutuyu suddenly opened his mouth and murmured, "Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, no matter what you two plan to do, and no matter how powerful others say you are, you will not get any benefits from me when you meet me." Humph. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet arrived at the port of Jili state on the night of the 27th of December, the news of the commander-in-chief's mansion of Song-Mo had spread to the capital. At the same time, the letters written by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had also arrived. When Li Longji saw that the people in the palace were handling the New Year's affairs, he first learned about the situation of the commander-in-chief's mansion of Song-Mo, and called Gao Lishir to his side. "Lishir, do you know what Xiao Bao and Cuckoo plan to do?" Gao Lishir had just received the letter sent by the pigeon, and had just read it. He quickly replied to Li Longji, "Your Majesty, the letters from Xiao Bao and Cuckoo have arrived. They talked about this matter." "Tell me." Li Longji really couldn't understand how providing so many things to the commander-in-chief's mansion of Song-Mo would benefit Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wasn't this using his own money to raise thieves? "Your Majesty, Xiaobao mentioned in the letter that after the New Year's mansion of Song-Mo will be renting a large amount of land to be used to grow whitecaps. When the time comes, the local people will be in charge. After the harvest, 1 jean of whitecaps can be exchanged for 10 jean of rice or wheat flour in Jili state. As long as the people who grow whitecaps hunt, they can also exchange for a lot of vegetable oil and salt." Gao Lishir replied. Without waiting for Li Longji to ask, he continued to speak. "Your Majesty, before the new year, sending good things to the commander-in-chief's mansion of Song-Mo is the third ring in the chain plan. This is to let the people of the commander-in-chief's mansion get used to using good things, and getting used to living on warm Kong beds. They will know that the things in Jili state are better than those in their own commander-in-chief's mansion. After the new year is the fourth ring. When the rice is cheap, no one will plant it. When the oil is cheap, no one will plant beans. When the whitecaps are planted, they can be used for farming. Every month, they will be given food and leather to train the people, making them wild. When the whitecaps are harvested in the winter and are not exchanged, the people will be angry and warlike. They will be forced to fight. If they fight, Jili state's army will be formed. They will use chitin to train the soldiers as an excuse to attack. If they don't fight, they will lose the people's hearts. The people will be unstable, and there will be no food. They will exhaust their bodies and weaken their will. Then we will start the fifth ring and recruit the people into Jili state." Li Longji listened quietly. Although he had good willpower, he was still frightened by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's plan. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. When Gao Lishir finished, he said, "So Xiaobao and Cuckoo want to use their own food to dispel the people of the commander-in-chief's mansion of Song-Mo's mansion from farming. They want to waste their land and make them fight more with the wild beasts to make the people brave. When the whitecaps come out, they will cut off the food and force them to fight. Jili state has 10,000 soldiers and good weapons. However, if they want to fight, they can't take them down. If they don't want to fight, they can't stabilize their position unless they use the army to suppress them. This plan must be from Xiaobao. I can see that Xiaobao is more ruthless than Cuckoo. Cuckoo is a general and a commander-in-chief. She only knows how to use troops. Xiaobao is a master who kills without spilling blood. Zai. Fortunately, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family are people of Great Tang. If they were in another country, how could Great Tang have peace? This matter must not be spread. I will wait for Xiaobao and Cuckoo to help me sort out the northern part of Hebei province. When the time comes, I will reward them handsomely. Your subject understands, Your Majesty. Just now, your subject heard that someone impeached Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, saying that the two of them produced salt, but did not use it for civil purposes. They used it to build a lake. I will wait for a memorial from the censorate after the new year. Gao Lisher nodded, and then said something else. Chapter 788. Before the firecrackers sounded in Jili State, there was a heavy snowfall. Near the sea, the snowflakes fell and melted, melting and falling again. Finally, the surrounding seawater became cold and frozen. For the people in Jili State, this was the new year they looked forward to the most. Compared to the past, their lives were much better this year. The only thing they were worried about was their relatives who were soldiers outside. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could not help them send letters to their relatives, nor did they have phones to call. Perhaps it was because the roads were difficult, so the people restrained themselves. They were not as anxious as the two of them when their relatives were not home for the new year. Every family was given things for the new year, and wore new clothes. The 10,000 soldiers also finished their training. On the 30th, they were divided into several groups to protect the officials in the Yamen, as they went to various places to pay their New Year greetings. In fact, it was Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan strolling around the inner courtyard of their home. They were firmly on the path of being close to the people. The people who stayed up all night fell asleep on the morning of the first day of the new year. The air was still filled with the smell of sulfur and saltpeter left by the firecrackers. Finally done. This year's new year is really tiring. Wang Wan, who also returned home, lay on the Kong and felt the warmth of the Kong. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, who had closed his eyes, "There is no way. We have to cultivate credibility. Even if we have to pretend once every year. Let's do it this year. When the local government is fully organized next year, let the local people work. From the 5th day of the new year, let them continue to paste paper boxes. We can't let the production and construction fall behind. We can't let the 15th day of the new year come." Zhang Xiaobao was exhausted. Even though he did not go too far to visit and only walked around the prefecture, it was difficult to walk. It was already dark at night, and it was snowing. After walking for a few miles, he ran more than 10 kilometers and ate a lot of dumplings. On the way, he even found a chance to vomit twice. Otherwise, he would not be able to eat. Compared to the new year in Jili State, the people in the surrounding prefectures were not so happy, especially those who lived close to the prefecture. When they heard the firecrackers in Jili State, they thought that the people in Jili State could eat good fish and meat. It was inevitable that they felt unfair. On the second day of the new year, some people used the excuse of visiting relatives to see how the people in Jili State celebrated the new year. However, they found that they were wrong. Some people who did have relatives walked for a day and arrived at their relative's house. Not only did they eat dumplings, but they also ate vegetables. Looking at the candy plate on the table, they secretly regretted not coming. When people in Jili province started to work, people in other places were still in various moods of celebrating the new year. Before the 15th day of the first lunar month, the good life in Jili province had been spread to the surrounding areas at the fastest speed. It was estimated that it would not take too long for the news to spread to the Song Mo Commander-in-Chief's office and to the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's office, leaving behind a foundation for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's future plans. The people in Beijing were obviously busier than Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They needed to send gifts in return. The happiest people were Li Linfu and Cui Riji. The two of them finally returned to Beijing, and did not have to stay in Xiankai County anymore. Cui Riji, who originally wanted to find trouble with Baoxing County, could only announce that his plan had failed. After the new year, people from Beijing would continue to be sent to Xiankai County to take over. There was also a county magistrate there to temporarily take over the work of the two people who left. County Magistrate Yin was in power. Just when he was happy that the imperial court would promote him to the position of county magistrate, the imperial court sent people to take away the seal in his hand. What they took away was not only the seal of the county magistrate, but also his official seal. He was indeed promoted to county magistrate, but not to Xian Kai County. He was the county magistrate of Yiying County in Jili State, which was very close to the government office of the prefecture. Naturally, he did not know that this was because he did not work hard in the past year. During the new year, Li Longji, who was talking about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, thought of County Magistrate Yan when he was recalling their backgrounds. He casually mentioned him, and his fate was decided. After packing his luggage and setting off with his family, County Magistrate Yan did not know what to feel. Being sent away was not a big deal, but what worried him the most was meeting Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Back then, when the two of them were not in Baoxing County, he went to find He Yiwei to discuss making money. If he was remembered by the two of them, how could he live a good life? Hiding these thoughts in his heart and not letting his family know, County Magistrate Yin deliberately slowed down his journey. He could have taken the water route, but he insisted on taking the land route. He wanted to get through the time of his appointment and asked the imperial court to change his position. Even if he was punished and demoted, it was still better than going to Jili State. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know that County Magistrate Yan had come, and they did not know that County Magistrate Yan was so afraid of them. Zhang Xiaobao continued to organize the production, and Wang Wan continued to train her soldiers. The ice was cut open, and people jumped in to swim until the end of March and the beginning of April. By that time, Empress Wang would be about to give birth. Wang Wan would send 1,000 people to sail northeast along the coast to see if they could reach North America. A warm wind blew, and the sea in Jili State opened. The fishermen who had been catching fish in ice caves in the winter did not care about the cold of spring. They boarded the fishing boats and went out to sea to continue fishing for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Should we go to Huayuan County? After seeing that Empress Wang is safe, Wang Wan felt that she had nothing to do. So she found Zhang Xiaobao, who was looking at a map. It doesn't seem to make any difference whether we go or not. Just stay here and wait for Empress Wang's child to be born. Let people keep her for 2 more months. I heard from my godfather that Li Longji wants to throw Empress Wang's child to our family. We have to be prepared in advance, especially in the prevention of diseases. If his child dies here, no matter how magnanimous he is, it is impossible for him to not bear grudges. History is no longer the original history. We have created the future. Zhang Xiaobao still had things to do. If he listened to Wang Wan and went to Huayuan County, he would waste a lot of time. If he did not go, he would be separated from Wang Wan. Now there was no good communication tool. If he thought of something, there was no one to help him plan. Wang Wan listened to Zhang Xiaobao and nodded. Then I won't go either. I will accompany you to work on the spring plowing. We still have to build a beautiful house here. It will be more lively when the 2 little guys come. Disinfect the places that should be disinfected, and isolate the places that should be isolated. We will wait for them to come. Time passed quickly. Some people were looking forward to it, while some people were cursing. Finally, the cry of a baby came from Yawang Mountain in Huayuan County. Chapter 789. The Empress had given birth to a son. This was a big deal. It was much more important than the calf in Xiao Wuzi's house. The officials were silent. The news from the eunuch was that Empress Wang had given birth to a boy and a girl. After a while, a boy was born. Last year, the emperor wanted to dethrone Empress Wang. This year 2 children were born. There was no big mistake. The empress's position was stable. The officials who were on Wu Huifei's side were scared. The officials who usually didn't help either side hesitated. The officials who were on good terms with Empress Wang began to think. The emperor's eldest son was Prince Qing Li Tan. The crown prince was Li Ying. Would there be a change in the position? The officials had their own thoughts. Li Longji didn't think too much. He felt that Empress Wang, who seemed to have changed last year, was very good. Now she had a son and a daughter. Li Longji was so happy that he didn't know how to express it. Your Majesty, now that the world is peaceful, the Empress can safely give birth to a son and a daughter. We should congratulate her. Gao Lisher knew which side Empress Wang was on. He usually didn't want to care about the affairs of the harem. At this moment, he had to help say something. If Wu Huifei gave birth to a son and a daughter, He would just congratulate her. Wu Huifei was too scheming. Empress Wang was different. She just wanted to protect her position and be good to the people of the harem. Li Longji tried to suppress the emotions in his heart and nodded. We should congratulate her. This matter will be left to the Ministry of Rites. The Minister of Rites, Su Yi, quickly agreed. He didn't care if the court meeting was still open. He hurriedly left to arrange the etiquette. Today's court meeting will be led by Minister Zhang. Li Longji had something on his mind. Seeing that there was no problem that he had to deal with today, he left with Gao Lishir. As soon as he came out, Li Longji asked Gao Lishir, Lishir, do you know how to raise the two sons of Hua Yuan? Your Majesty wants to put them beside Xiaobao and Cuckoo? I'm afraid that Empress Wang will miss her children. Gao Lishir already knew what the emperor was thinking. If the Zhang family and Wang family only had Xiaobao and Cuckoo, it would be a once in 100 years. There was no point in thinking too much about it. Geniuses were not that easy to come by. However, ever since he saw Xiao Bei and the others, things had changed. There were 9 of them in Xiao Bei's group. They weren't very old, but they were much taller than ordinary children. They were smart, lively, and sensible. Other than those children who were born with the ability to write, there were no other children of the same age who could compare to them. It could be said that each of them had their own strengths, and they did not lack basic skills. This showed that the Zhang family and the Wang family had a complete set of education methods. They were not natural talents, but the result of later teaching. If the children were placed with them, perhaps there would be another Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They were proficient in both literature and martial arts. They could rule the country through literature and pacify the country through martial arts. No matter how good other people's children were, they were not as capable and considerate as their own children. That was why Gao Lishir said that. How could Li Longji not know what Empress Wang was thinking? She finally had a child, and no one could take the position of Empress away from her. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't. Unless Empress Wang made a huge mistake. But was that possible? Previously, she had gone to Huayuan County. After returning, it was as if she had changed into a different person. She had become smarter and prettier. She was no longer the careless person she used to be. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find fault with her. She finally had a child, so wouldn't she have to keep him by her side all day long? But that wouldn't do. He was worried about putting other children in the hands of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. After all, the two of them were only good to Empress Wang. He wanted to send the 2 children to learn some skills. Needless to say, they would be able to have the same skills as Xiaobao and Cuckoo when they were 10 years old. It would also be possible when they were 20 years old. Thinking of this, Li Longji gritted his teeth and decided, after I discuss with the Empress, Lishir can go and tell Xiaobao and Cuckoo to see what they plan to do. Yes, this official will do it immediately. Gao Lishir responded and strode away to write a letter to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Go to Xingqing Palace, Li Longji said and took a deep breath. He felt that today's weather was very good. The people in power had their own thoughts. The ordinary people couldn't care about the matters of the court. They just wanted to have a better life. Now that food was cheap and they had a better life, they needed to ask for something else. The people didn't understand the construction of spiritual civilization and didn't think about it. They just wanted someone to inherit their family business and continue the family line. They wanted someone to take care of them when they were old. Empress Wang gave birth to 2 children on Yawang Mountain. After some people spread the news that Zhang family and Wang family also had 3 twins spread like wildfire. Even if the boys weren't Zhang family and Wang family's children, the people still thought that they were related to Zhang family and Wang family. Now that Empress Wang also gave birth to 2 children, no one believed that it had nothing to do with Zhang family and Wang family. Therefore, Yawang Mountain and Dei Hospital, which were originally popular, became places that even more people yearned for. The first thing that spread in Jiangxi province was that Zhang family and Wang family had the treasured land of Yawang Mountain, which was why they could give birth to 4 children at the same time. Yawang Mountain was a good place to have children. People who had a little property all went to Yawang Mountain to look for it, regardless of whether it was still warm or cold. People who used to live in Dei Sanatorium were even more concerned about Yawang Mountain, which was not far away. Unfortunately, Yawang Mountain was still under renovation and was sealed. Ordinary people weren't allowed to take half a step in. Even people from the palace had to be watched by the side and bathed and changed clothes before they could go in. This kind of thing could fool ordinary people, but it couldn't fool smart people. The sealing of the mountain turned out to be in preparation for Empress Wang's pregnancy and confinement. Everyone was so anxious that they scratched their heads, but there was nothing they could do. They could only wait for Empress Wang to finish her confinement quickly. Even if they couldn't go up the mountain, they could still walk around the foot of the mountain to get some of the immortal aura that came down from the mountain. For a while, the inns at the foot of Yawang Mountain were full. Even the people nearby rented out their houses to people who wanted to have healthy children. They made a lot of money. The tour groups in the capital didn't need Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's instructions. They had already raised the price. Those who followed the tour group had to pay twice as much money as before. They could go to the place where Empress Wang stayed when she was pregnant. Those who didn't follow the tour group didn't have this treatment. Although people were cursing in their hearts, they still obediently sent the money up. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had nothing to do in Jili province, also received the news that Empress Wang had given birth to twins. While they were happy for Empress Wang, they also received a letter from Gao Lishir. Xiaobao, Li Longji has decided to send the 2 children here. When are you going to pick them up? If you leave now, by the time you reach Yawang Mountain, Empress Wang's confinement will have been over. I don't know if Empress Wang is willing to do so. Wang Wan knew that Zhang Xiaobao liked children. No matter how many there were, as long as he could afford to raise them, he was willing to raise them. After reading Gao Lishir's letter, she asked. Zhang Xiaobao was still immersed in happiness. He had another child with a good relationship with him. The 2 little guys must be wrinkly, just like his younger brothers and sisters when they were young. After hearing Wang Wan say it twice, he finally reacted. He smiled happily and said, "Let's go now and bring them back. We'll raise them. Xiao Bei has a new younger brother and sister. Aren't we already prepared? At most, we'll let Empress Wang see her a few times a year. I don't dare to leave the 2 little guys in the palace. They'll be easily killed. Then let's go. I'll go with you. We'll take Xiao Bei and the others. Just treat it as a trip." Wang Wan agreed with Zhang Xiaobao's proposal and turned to find someone to make the arrangements. When the team was about to set off, County Magistrate Yan, who had deliberately arrived late, showed up. He was 13 days late and happened to meet Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He said without the slightest respect, "I came to take office. The road is difficult, so I'm late. Governor Zhang and Adjunct Wang can write a petition to impeach me." He deliberately used such an attitude to talk to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He wanted to make them angry and impeach him. Then he would be demoted and transferred to another place. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other. They knew that this person was sent by Li Longji to find them too easy. How could they let him go, even if Jili province didn't need him? Zhang Xiaobao suddenly smiled and said to County Magistrate Yan in a very friendly manner, "It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. The road this time is difficult, and we know it very well. Don't worry about it later. There is no official in Arian County at the moment. County Magistrate Yan can go there. I have something important to do with Army Adjunct Wang. In the future, County Magistrate Yan will have to take care of Arian County." County Magistrate Yan was stunned. He was disappointed. He didn't expect that they wouldn't be angry when he arrived late. What should he do? While he was thinking, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already set off with their younger brothers and sisters. "Sir, are you going to take office?" An advisor of County Magistrate Yan's family came over and asked. This advisor didn't have other skills, but he was full of evil ideas. "Take office. Help me think of a way to make some trouble for them. This is not a safe place." County Magistrate Yan reluctantly accepted the result, but he was not reconciled. Chapter 790. The fleet went against the current. When they arrived at the capital and were about to head north, the little eunuch Luo Bin led a group of people to deliver a lot of things. He found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and whispered to them. When I came, His Majesty said that you two must ensure the safety of the little prince and the little princess. His Majesty will not send anyone to get close to them for any reason, unless he uses pigeons to send a letter to you two. Therefore, anyone who tries to get close to them for any other reason is to be killed, right? Zhang Xiaobao finished Luo Bin's words. Yes, it is for the two of you to consider. Yes, consider. Luo Bin nodded vigorously. He didn't feel any murderous intent from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, but he knew that the two of them would never be soft-hearted when they killed people. Seeing the people on the fleet change from the big boats to the small boats, he thought about it and said to Zhang Xiaobao, Little Gongzi, the price of the blue sea silver sand has been decreasing recently. Between the clouds and the water is under a lot of pressure. If it weren't for the different reputations of Savant's restaurant and Success House, it would probably be affected as well. Thank you. Zhang Xiaobao took out a pearl and stuffed it into Luo Bin's hands. He said to him, Go back and tell adoptive father that there is no need to worry about this. Everything is under control. Yes, little Gongzi said that everything will be under control. Then I will take my leave. After the exchange of things, Luo Bin stood on the shore and watched the small boats leave. He let out a sigh of relief and ordered, Come back with me. For 3 days you are not allowed to contact anyone else. The small boats headed toward Huayuan on the newly cleared river. The cold wind whistled along the river. Xiao Bei and the others, who wanted to see the scenery, had no choice but to run into the cabin to hide after they were blown to tears. They complained to each other about who suggested the idea of seeing the scenery. Wu Huifei finally couldn't help but make a move. Let's see how many people want to deal with us. They all show up together so that we can deal with them. Wang Wan climbed up to a special lookout stand on the boat. She used her binoculars to look at the surrounding terrain. She found that there was no ambush for the time being, so she climbed down and said to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his face that was numb from the wind and nodded. Yes, it will come eventually. If we can't avoid it, we will face it head-on. Without competition, there will be no motivation. Let's see how Jianglan can develop the blue sea silver sand without losing money. Let's see how Song Jinggong will deal with it. Xiaobao, Jianglan won't leak the secret, right? What do you think Wu Huifei will do next? I don't think it's possible for her to just use the blue sea silver sand to deal with between the clouds and the water. Originally, she was going to use the sea between the clouds and the water to go against them, but in the end, the secret was exposed, and that plan was ruined. As Wang Wan spoke, she hugged Zhang Xiaobao and used Zhang Xiaobao to block the wind. The bank. She found someone to deposit so much money. Isn't it because she wants to withdraw it all at once in the most remote place of the bank? She wants to use this to attack me. Withdraw it, withdraw it. After this, the Great Tang Bank will be able to issue small amounts of large amounts of money. We must first take precautions against counterfeiting. Asterisk 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 asterisk. At the foot of Yawang Mountain, there was still a tide of people, waiting for the mountain to open. In a courtyard on the mountain, Empress Wang, who had just finished her confinement, held a wrinkled baby in each hand and fed him milk. Seeing the two little guys open their eyes, Wei, Empress Wang had a happy expression on her face. For her, these two children were not just flesh and blood. They were also the guarantee of her identity and status. In the future, she would count on these two children. Your Majesty, why don't you find a wet nurse? After all, the little prince and the little princess are two different people. Xiaozhu rested her chin on her hand. Seeing the two little guys drinking milk, she was also happy. No need. This empress will feed them myself. Ordinary people can't feed these two children because they don't eat well. On Yawang Mountain, this empress has been eating things that are good for milk recently. This empress can't feed them for long. Once Xiao Bao and Cuckoo arrive, they will have to go with them. Sigh. Empress Wang already knew the fate of the two children, and was very reluctant to part with them. Xiaozhu also felt sad. Your Majesty, why don't you let Xiaozhu go with them? What's the use of you going with them? When it comes to taking care of children, there is no one in Great Tang who can do better than the Zhang family and the Wang family. If they are really raised in the palace, it is better to send them to Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. As long as they can be like Xiaobei, it is fine. Empress Wang thought of Wu Huifei's first child Li Yi. She had taken good care of him, but he still died early. It was better to send him away. Xiaozhu reached out to touch the little princess's face, but was blocked by the little princess's hand. She said, "Your Majesty, the Zhang family and the Wang family are very capable. Shouldn't we let the little prince learn the way of the emperor?" She said this very carefully. Her voice was so soft that it couldn't be heard from a distance. Empress Wang's expression changed immediately. After a while she said, "Now that the crown prince is here, there are other princes. My son shouldn't fight for it. A stable life is also a blessing." The way of the emperor is ruthless. Why? Empress Wang didn't doubt that the masters of the Zhang family and the Wang family didn't know the way of the emperor. Look at Xiao Bao's strategy, look at Cuckoo's method of control, and look at how Xiaobei and the others were liked by the emperor. If they didn't know the way of the emperor, how could they be stable? Especially Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. There were many things that they couldn't do, but they couldn't do. Plus, with the skills that she learned last time, who would believe that the masters of the Zhang family and the Wang family didn't know? Xiaozhu felt a little regretful, but she understood that if one wanted to be a good emperor, he couldn't be a good man and a good father. Otherwise, which father would be willing to marry his daughter to someone else? In the eyes of the emperor, everyone could be used. Princess Donghua was originally going to be married to Li Xiaogu. Later, because of Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's stubbornness, she stayed. Li Xiaogu didn't dare to find trouble, but he suddenly kept silent. If it weren't for the two of them, Princess Donghua would have been married. "Your Highness, it's better to let the Zhang family and the Wang family decide what the little prince and princess can learn. I heard that Wu Huifei wants to make a move on Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. I don't know what happened. She has already made a move. The price of the blue sea silver sand at Yawang Mountain has been decreasing. Many people who were originally going to between the clouds and the water have been pulled over. It's all because of me. If Cuckoo hadn't found me back then, I might have been banished to the cold palace. Wu Huifei, I've learned a lot." Empress Wang only understood what the Taoist priest wanted to do later. She had almost experienced Wu Huifei's ability. She also knew the ability of Cuckoo's side. How could they predict so accurately? "Your Highness, won't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo be at a disadvantage?" Xiaozhu was very worried. Chapter 791. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's journey was very smooth. No one suddenly jumped out to ambush them. Many officials from Yaozhou had come. The two of them were anxious to see the little ones and did not meet them. They only sent someone to deliver a letter to He Yiwei, encouraging him. When the two of them arrived at Yawang Mountain and saw Empress Wang, the two little ones were already sleeping next to each other. Just like watching rare animals, Xiaobei and the others looked at the little ones one by one. Their mouths were still moving while they were sleeping. So small. Xiaobei measured the two little ones' height with his hand. "You're not big either." Xiao Yuan added, "I'm still bigger than them. In the future, they'll be under my protection. No one is allowed to bully them." Xiaobei reached out and touched the little girl's mouth. The little one, whose mouth was still moving, turned her head towards Xiaobei's finger, wanting to suck on it. Empress Wang had people bring over a lot of food. She glanced at the two children and asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in a low voice, "When are you leaving? Why don't you stay at Yawang Mountain for a few more days?" "We'll leave after 2 days. We'll go to the capital with your Majesty and take charge of the Tang Bank. Trouble is coming." Zhang Xiaobao knew that Empress Wang was reluctant to part with her children, but she had no choice. Empress Wang looked at her children again. After thinking for a while, she asked, "Is it Wu Huifei who's causing trouble for you? Blue sea silver sand has stolen a lot of business from between the clouds and the water. She asked for it. Your Majesty doesn't need to worry about blue sea silver sand. This summer, a new chain restaurant will appear. It will form a tripartite balance of power with blue sea silver sand, and between the clouds and the water. They will compete and develop with each other. The trouble is with the bank. Someone is depositing a lot of money in the capital. Presumably, they want to go to the most remote Tang Bank to withdraw it." Zhang Xiaobao was telling Empress Wang some things. Empress Wang was not stupid. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao's confident words, she immediately understood. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in confusion and asked, "Why did you find yourself an opponent?" The first is for balance, and the second is for progress. If one party is strong, they will lose the motivation to develop if they lack a sense of crisis. They are born in worries and die in peace and happiness. It's just that they are prepared for danger in times of peace. It's the same for business and politics. It's the same for one party and the other. Nothing in the world goes beyond that. As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he dipped his hand into the tea and drew a Tai Chi diagram on the table. He said, "Yin and Yang, blending with each other and moving with the momentum. Yang turns into Yin, and Yin follows Yang. Just like a bicycle, it's the most stable when moving." Empress Wang nodded. Although she couldn't understand the deeper meaning, she knew the general idea. She seemed to be talking to herself. Speaking of which, the harem should also be moved. Can the bank handle it? It's my fault for causing trouble for you too. If it weren't for this, why would Wu Huifei target you too? Wang Wan smiled and said, "Your Majesty, you don't have to think like that. Xiao Bao and I have been waiting for her to make a move. It's better for her to make a move than others. Sooner or later, there will be people who will cause trouble for the bank. It's better to do it in the open. After this, the bank can be stable for a long time." Really? Even though Empress Wang already thought that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could handle it, she still asked with uncertainty. "Of course. Do they have names?" Wang Wan replied with certainty. She turned her head to look at the two little guys sleeping there. Speaking of the children, Empress Wang's face showed a motherly smile. "Yes, one is called Li Jun, and the other is called Pan. After this farewell, I don't know when I can see them again. Wait until Xiao Bao and I deal with the trivial matters in Jili province. In the future, we will be able to see each other at least twice a year. Nyang, don't worry. Junior and Pan will not suffer any grievances at our place. At that time, I will find a wet nurse for them. The next time Nyang sees them, you will see two white and chubby little guys." Wang Wan knew that it was too cruel for any mother to let the children leave her side, but what could she do? Did she dare to leave the two little guys in the palace? The only thing she could do was to try her best to guarantee. Fine, I will return to the capital with you the day after tomorrow. His Majesty has already sent someone to ask when we will return. It's on the way. The Commander-in-Chief of Songmo's Manor is very ambitious. You have opposed him time and time again. Be careful that he will do something bad to you. I know. He actually wants autonomy. It would be best if he becomes a vassal state of the Tang Empire. Then he will gradually become independent. If he doesn't send troops, Xiao Bao will slowly deal with him. At that time, even if he wants to send troops, he will have no troops to send. If he is in a hurry to send troops, it will be even better. If he thinks that others can't do anything to him because of the advantage of the terrain, I will let him know what special jungle warfare is. If it really doesn't work, I will burn the mountains on his side. Wang Wan had never thought much of the Khitans. The main reason was that the Khitans were now divided into various tribes. The total population was not large. If they really fought, it would be enough to divide them. When the time came, they would send the Khitans to Shuzhou or Baoxin County. What kind of trouble could they cause? Empress Wang also knew a lot about war. Seeing Wang Wan's indifferent appearance, she reminded her with concern. "Cuckoo, be careful not to push him too far. He will take his tribesmen to the Turks. It is not good for our dynasty to send an army to attack the Turks. If he really dares to go to the Turks, it will be even better. I will fight the Turks as well. I am worried that I won't have a place to use my new weapon. How big is it? It will be good to know its weaknesses and strengths. It will increase the speed of research." As Wang Wan was speaking, Pan was woken up by Xiao Bei's kiss. She was sleeping comfortably. When she opened her eyes and saw that she didn't recognize anyone, and that there was no one she could rely on, she opened her mouth and cried. Xiao Bei embarrassedly stuck out his tongue, crying, "This child. Come give her to me." Empress Wang smiled as she picked up her daughter. She shook her, coaxed her, and quickly fell asleep again. 2 days later, everyone set out. Empress Wang's group was not small. The people in charge of protection rode along the banks and following the flow of the river toward the capital. The people who had been waiting for a long time at the foot of Yawang Mountain finally let out a sigh of relief. Yawang Mountain was open. Everyone rushed over like a tide. Before Zhang Xiaobao's group reached the capital, there were fast horses coming from downstream. They found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were with Empress Wang, and reported, "Young master, young lady, there is news from Suzhou. There is a run on the Great Tang private bank. The private bank is currently mobilizing cash. Between the clouds and the water, and sea and clouds have already prepared to take action." Got it. They actually ran to Suzhou. I thought they would go somewhere else. Hurry up and tell the Suzhou Money House to release the news of free deposits. There will be no processing fees for people depositing and exchanging money. Chapter 792. In the Suzhou government, Wu Feng, who was riding a fast horse at a speed of nearly 800 li, was not in the mood to swim in Lake Tai, let alone have the time to taste the prawn rake. With a pile of documents on him, he impatiently went to the Great Tang Bank in the Suzhou government. He took out the 1.5 million strings of coins and let the people of the bank verify it. According to the rules, those who asked for more than 50,000 strings of coins would have to wait 3 days before they could pay. He then found an inn not far from the bank and stayed there. When he found the innkeeper, he didn't say anything. He used a copper coin to arrange a pattern of the Big Dipper on the table. After the innkeeper personally poured half a cup of tea for him, he asked, "Do you have autumn crabs?" "Sir, you came at the right time. During the spring plowing, the autumn crabs are fat." "Sir, how many would you like to eat?" The innkeeper replied. "Give me half to try first." Wu Feng followed. "Sir, please wait a moment. I'll be right there," the innkeeper said as he filled the cup and bowed to leave. Not long after, the door opened and a middle-aged man wearing a silk headscarf came in. He looked back and carefully closed the door. He moved closer to Wu Feng and said, "Third steward, you've come. Are there any orders from above?" "Yes, it's time to act. How much money do you have here?" Wu Feng originally did not want to use the power here, but after he showed the documents and had them verified by the people of the Great Tang Bank, the other party did not show any signs of difficulty. He had no choice but to prepare another hand. As for the title of third steward, he had just gotten it last year. The main reason was because he contacted the merchants of the Jiangnan East Road to open the Blue Sea Silver Sand. The middle-aged man poured himself a cup of tea and raised it to reply. "Third steward, we only pulled in 400,000 strings of coins and promised many benefits to others. How much money can be used in the capital?" 400,000 strings of coins? Yes, that's about right. After 3 days, withdraw a small amount. The capital borrowed 1.5 million strings of coins, and the storage fee was paid by the Wu family. Starting tomorrow, send people here to spread the news that the Great Tang Bank has no more money. If the money deposited is not withdrawn, then not a single coin can be taken back. After this matter is settled, you can return to the capital this year. Wu Feng did a rough calculation, and was afraid that the Great Tang Bank still had the ability to pay 1.9 million strings of coins, so he suggested this method. "Don't worry, third steward. I will definitely muddy the waters." Hearing that there was a possibility of returning to the capital, the middle-aged man was very excited. The capital was good. People who could stay in the capital were not willing to go elsewhere. The next day, the originally calm Suzhou became restless. The people in the spring plowing did not consider the news circulating in the city. They did not have enough money to deposit in the money house for people to collect storage fees. But those who had businesses were different. They were always afraid of losing money if they kept it at home. Since the appearance of the Great Tang Bank, they found that the storage fee they paid each year was not much. It was basically the same as what they used to store the silk at home. In this way, these people could deposit their money in the Great Tang Bank and not worry about it being stolen. Now that he heard someone say that the Great Tang Bank had run out of money, at first he didn't believe it, but then he decided that he would rather believe it than not. He was prepared to withdraw the money first. After this storm passed, and he found that the money was fine, it wouldn't be too late to deposit it. The steward of the Great Tang Bank in the Suzhou government saw the line of people coming to withdraw money and immediately became anxious. What should we do? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have fought to participate in that training, and I wouldn't have spent so much effort to become a steward. The steward understood that this was the bank run that the teacher had mentioned during the training. After collecting deposits and lending money, the most frightening thing was for the depositors to come to the line to withdraw money, because they did not trust them. One of his assistants was also anxious and suggested, "Steward Lee, why don't we tell the people withdrawing money that they can't withdraw money this month and have them wait a month? At that time, the money from other places will be able to come." Steward Lee glared at the assistant. "Then other places will immediately get the news, and more people will go to withdraw money. What will the Great Tang Bank do? Hasn't the news already been sent out to the steward? The steward will have a way. Give it to the people withdrawing money. Send people to transport the money, and let them see if the Great Tang Bank still has money." The assistant nodded helplessly and ran to arrange for people to withdraw money from the warehouse. Then he looked at how much the person withdrew and divided the silk and copper coins according to 40 to 60. He knew that the steward was the young master of the Zhang family. He hoped that this time, the young master of the Zhang family could still be as magical as before and do things well. Because of the silk and copper coins, it was troublesome to withdraw money. Whether the people who withdrew money in small amounts or directly withdrew money in small amounts, the bank would not compensate them. Some people did deposit money in small amounts and withdraw money in small amounts. When they withdrew money, it would be 150 copper coins. When they withdrew money, it would be 150 copper coins. In this way, a bolt of silk would be worth 200 copper coins. They could not break the silk, so they could only pay with copper coins. In this way, the silk would be left in the bank. It was not easy to preserve silk. As long as it was in the hands, it would depreciate. Fortunately, the copper coins themselves were not worth the monetary value they represented. Therefore, there were people who privately minted coins. The copper coins transported from Xinluo, Japan, and Xinyuan Island were all made into copper coins to offset the depreciation of the silk. Soon, cart after cart of copper coins were pushed to the front of the shop. Manager Li wanted to shout to the people in line to withdraw money, "You don't have to worry about the Great Tang Bank not being able to take out the money." However, he was worried that someone would use such words to say that the bank was stubbornly holding on, so he could only use practical actions to give people a hint. As usual, the money was taken away by people. Carriages after carriages of money were brought over. Even if Manager Li was anxious, he didn't show it. He always wore a smile on his face, as he sent away the people who came to take the money one after another. From morning until noon, the people of the bank gave the money very quickly, and did not have the slightest intention of stalling. This made the people who were still in line to withdraw money unconsciously change their minds. At this time, the people arranged by Manager Li spread the news in the crowd. "Let's not withdraw money. Someone must be spreading rumors that the Great Tang Bank has no money. Look, if there is no money, how can they keep pulling money out? If there is no money, how can they not be anxious? It's noon, time to go back and eat. I'll look again and pull money out again. I won't withdraw money either. It's all my wife's fault. She forced me to come here. She didn't think about who opened the Great Tang Bank. That is the current emperor. How can the emperor not have money? AI. You've wasted my time." "That's right. Even if we can't withdraw money now, it's not that the Great Tang Bank doesn't have money. It's just that they lent the money to others to collect more interest, and can't move it away. If the Great Tang Bank was only in Suzhou, then we should withdraw money. But how many banks does Great Tang have now? I won't withdraw money either." All kinds of voices like this sounded in the crowd, causing the people who were still waiting to withdraw money to be moved. They hesitated, not knowing if they should continue withdrawing money. After noon, the people withdrawing money suddenly decreased by a lot. When it was almost night time, The withdrawal rate had basically returned to normal. Manager Li and the people of the bank heaved a sigh of relief, but Wu Feng was worried again. The plan was about to succeed, but in the end, the people arranged by the bank said that the bank run was gone. How could this work? That night, he called the middle-aged man over, and the two of them discussed while eating. Third steward, according to your thoughts, can the great Tang Bank in Suzhou still pay 1.9 million strings of cash? It's not a small amount. If it's not too much, then we should wait to prevent people from finding out. The middle-aged man was a bit worried. If he continued to send people to spread the news about the great Tang Bank, once someone found out, it wouldn't just be his side that would be in trouble. If the emperor knew that it was Wu Huifei who did it, no matter how much he doted on her, he would vent his anger on her. How could Wu Feng not understand this point? If it was someone else supporting the bank, he wouldn't care. 1.9 million strings of cash. There weren't many places that could take it out at once, especially Suzhou. The people here had borrowed a lot, so the bank shouldn't have much money left. But today's opponent was Zhang Xiaobao. Who dared to underestimate him? Those who underestimated him didn't have a good ending. Even if they didn't underestimate him, those who went against him also didn't have a good ending. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't come over, he wouldn't have chosen Suzhou. Otherwise, if he was in Suzhou, he wouldn't have dared to come here. Some people's existence was a legend. Thinking like this, Wu Feng said to the middle-aged man, "This is the last time. Find someone reliable to do it. Don't give yourself away. If they really find out that you're here, we'll take good care of your family." The middle-aged man's expression changed. He nodded and said, "Understood. If they find me, then everything will be cut off. I'll immediately go back and arrange it." The next day, Suzhou, which was about to return to peace, had a new wave. It was rumored that the emperor wanted to use troops against Tufan and Tujue at the same time. Even after taking out all the money in the national treasury, it still wasn't enough. He forcefully transferred money from various banks. The banks were already empty. If they didn't withdraw money now, once the emperor lost, there wouldn't be any money left. When one person said this, others didn't care. More and more people said it. It made those who didn't believe it couldn't help but doubt whether or not it was true. At this time, the Suzhou government began to send bailiffs to arrest people. How terrible! Letting people casually spread rumors. Not only would the emperor be angry, but what would Tufan and Tujue think if they acted too late? Once they were arrested, it became even more chaotic. Some people began to suspect that this was an attempt to seal the mouth. They increasingly felt that the emperor wanted to send troops. Furthermore, the national treasury had no money and was transferring money from the banks. A new line appeared in front of the banks, waiting to withdraw money. Just as shopkeeper Li was feeling anxious, the urgent letter that Zhang Xiaobao had sent someone to deliver finally arrived. Looking at the contents of the letter, shopkeeper Li's heart finally settled down. He immediately had someone post a notice outside according to what was written in the letter. "Is there no money?" An illiterate commoner saw the notice and anxiously asked around. A literate person went over to take a look and said to the people around him, "Good news, great news. The emperor said that the national treasury is now full and the four seas are at peace. Therefore, the Great Tang Bank will remove the service fee for people who have previously deposited money after 1 month. The new people who deposit money will only have half of the original amount. When summer comes, the Great Tang Bank will completely remove the service fee. Also, starting from today, the interest on loans will also be reduced. The conditions for loans will also be slightly relaxed. In the future, more people will be able to borrow money. Good news, great news." Hearing the literate person's words, the people who wanted to withdraw money were confused. Who was the one who said it? If the bank was deliberately deceiving people, then the bank should not have relaxed the conditions for loans and reduced the interest when the bank ran out of money. Could it be that the bank really did not lack money? Someone in the crowd began to speak. "Don't withdraw money. If you withdraw money and deposit it again, although it will be half of the previous service fee, it will not be as good as when there was no service fee in the beginning. Don't withdraw money. The emperor will not deceive us. I also won't withdraw money. Who knows, There might be something good waiting for us. It must be that the person who started the rumor knew in advance that the emperor was going to do this, so they came to take advantage of it. That's right, the person who started the rumor should be caught and beheaded. It's really too deceptive. I already withdrew 30 strings of cash yesterday. I've lost money, lost a lot. The crowd dispersed again. This time, no one continued to spread the rumor. Many of the people who started the rumor were arrested. They all said that they heard it from other people in the inns and restaurants. At the moment, it was really hard to find who started it. They could only be locked up for a few days and released when the time came. Third steward, is there such news from the capital? Did the emperor really say that? The middle-aged man found Wu Feng with lingering fear. What does it have to do with the emperor? The person who is really in charge of the Tang Bank is Zhang Xiaobao. Whatever he says is what it is. What a fast speed. I just made my move and he already knew. I wonder if he can still take out the remaining 9 million strings of cash. Wu Feng did not have any confidence in his heart. Didn't Zhang Xiaobao go to Huayuan County to pick up the child? How could he still manage Suzhou? The third day came. The middle-aged man first had someone withdraw the 400,000 strings of cash he had saved, promising that person many benefits. After all, this interest had to be taken by himself. Otherwise, the other person did not need to pay the service fee. If he still wanted them to pay more, they would not do it. Following that, Wu Feng also found the Tang Bank and wanted to take his 5 million strings of cash. Seeing stewardly, the other party's one sentence scared Wu Feng silly. Third steward, the money you asked for has been prepared. Come with me to get it. Stewardly said politely. Just this one sentence made Wu Feng feel cold from head to toe. He knows he really knows. It was not a fake name that I gave, nor did he say my real name. Instead, he called me the Wu family in the capital. What should I do? What should I do? Will the empress's side be? Wu Feng's vision turned black and his ears rang. Even when stewardly touched him, he did not feel anything. He only felt that his whole body was numb and did not have an ounce of strength. His stomach felt like he had drunk a lot of wine, and wanted to vomit but could not. With a puff, stewardly sprayed a mouthful of strong wine on Wu Feng's face. Only then did Wu Feng wake up. Third steward, please come with me. The bank does not have 5 million strings of cash. We need to get it from other places. Stewardly said again. Wu Feng was so scared that his soul almost left his body. When he heard that the bank could not take out so much money, he did not feel the slightest bit of joy. He thought for a while and said, "If you don't have that, then don't take it." "How can that be? If you don't take it out, then the bank will not receive the management fee. Furthermore, the third steward has already made an appointment in advance. Please, the young master of the Zhang family has been very busy for this matter. He took the money between the clouds and the water and sea and clouds, and even transported a few 100,000 strings of cash from nearby places. After negotiating with the local investors, we finally managed to gather 5 million strings of cash for the third steward. Oh, it's 9 million strings of cash." Stewardly reached out to support Wu Feng. Just like that, Wu Feng was sent to the bank between the clouds and the water by stewardly. Looking at the mountain of money, Wu Feng knew that it was impossible for him to transport it away. The transportation fee was more than 10 times higher than the management fee. He could only deposit it in the bank again. After entering and exiting, the management fee was not small. More importantly, he was exposed. He wondered how the empress was doing in the palace. In the capital, Li Longji already knew about it. In his anger, he did not visit Wu Huifei for 3 days. Of course, he also did not teach her a lesson. Today he went to Empress Wang's place to drink alone. Empress Wang was making clothes for her son and daughter. Although Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not lack clothes for a mother, it was better to make clothes herself than others. Seeing that the emperor had arrived, she arranged for people to prepare food and wine while coming to serve him. Seeing that the emperor's complexion was not good, she asked with concern, "Your Majesty, is there something troubling you in the imperial court?" "What can happen in the imperial court? Now that the national treasury is full, it's the bank that's in trouble. Li Longji had only seen his newborn son and daughter once. Now that he came to Empress Wang's place, he thought of how the two of them smiled when they saw him. His mood improved a lot. Your Majesty, could it be that Xiaobao got into trouble? Empress Wang already knew what was going on. If it was in the past, she would have directly said it. Now she was smarter. Li Longji waved his hand. What trouble could Xiaobao get into? With him there, the bank has nothing to worry about. It's consort Huifei. She actually made a move behind the scenes. She had people deposit a large sum of money in the capital, and then ran to the farthest bank in Suzhou to get it. This is called running on the bank. Your Majesty, perhaps consort Huifei's younger sister has a proper use. If she really wanted to go to the farthest place, wouldn't it be better to go to Jiannan Circuit? Empress Wang explained. What use does she have? She didn't go to Jiannan Circuit because of the reputation that Xiaobao and Cuckoo made there, as well as the business of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Moreover, the road there is difficult. Otherwise, she really would have gone to Jiannan Circuit. Li Longji's heart was like a mirror. How could he not know the reason why consort Huifei made a move on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? At this time, the palace maids had already placed the wine and dishes on the table. Empress Wang poured wine for the emperor and said, Your Majesty doesn't need to worry. With Xiaobao there, nothing will happen to the bank. Naturally, Xiaobao wrote a letter to Lisher a few days ago, saying that the increase of the capital's deposit was abnormal. He made arrangements early on. What if it was someone else? What would happen? Would anyone have Xiaobao's ability? When Li Longji thought of the letter that Gao Lisher had received, he couldn't help but admire the experts of the Zhang family. Xiaobao, who had been taught by them, was actually able to see the signs of the increase of the capital's deposit. This ability was extraordinary. Empress Wang picked up a piece of cucumber for the emperor and drank a small cup with him. She continued to persuade. Your Majesty, consort Huifei's actions are also good. Good in what way? Li Longji had thought that Empress Wang would add fuel to the fire. He didn't expect that she would actually speak up for consort Huifei. Your Majesty should think this way. This time, consort Huifei was testing the Tang Bank. Xiaobao handled it well. Even if she really couldn't control it at that time, consort Huifei will deposit the money back into the bank. She won't ruin Your Majesty's plans. This concubine can guarantee. With this, Your Majesty's heart will be at ease. Xiaobao has done a good job in handling the malicious deposit and withdrawal of funds from other places. It's better than other people or countries with bad intentions. It's also good for the people participating in the training to have an intuitive impression. According to this concubine's words, consort Huifei's actions are like an adult deliberately making things difficult for children in order to train them. Your Majesty also made things difficult for Xiaobao and Cuckoo. The two children said that when they wanted to go to Jili province, they had to go around in circles. If Pan, and the others weren't with Xiaobao and Cuckoo, this concubine also wanted to make things difficult for them. Empress Wang tried her best to excuse consort Huifei. It wasn't that she didn't want to beat consort Huifei to death with a stick. It was just that this kind of thing couldn't be beaten to death. Rather than that, it was better to curry favor and let the emperor see her magnanimity as the leader of the harem. Li Longji actually just wanted to find a way out for himself. When he heard Empress Wang's words, he felt happy in his heart and deliberately put on a straight face. Xiaobao and Cuckoo have lied to us time and time again. Those officials who didn't know the reason thought that we couldn't compare to the two children. Now you know it's because the two children aren't ordinary. When our Junior and Pan are older, they can also learn good skills. Your Majesty, this concubine still has something to say. Although consort Huifei tested Xiaobao once, she still has to be punished in the harem. This concubine has decided to punish consort Huifei with half a year's monthly allowance. What does Your Majesty think? Empress Wang continued. Punishment, punishment. Come drink with us. Let's sleep here tonight. When Li Longji heard that it was only half a year's allowance, he happily agreed. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.